All right, Doc, well, pick your sport. The day the big trophy's up for grabs carries a little extra zip, and that's the case today for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Duel in the Desert. It is the most beautiful setting on the NASCAR circuit. The desert mountains and the cactus forming the backdrop for a fast little mile racetrack where the sizzle comes from speed, not just the Arizona sun. Today at Phoenix International Raceway, the star of this show is Kyle Busch, the Las Vegas native, who today could lay claim to his first major NASCAR championship. A week ago in Texas, Kyle dominated, leading all but 20 laps en route to his 8th win of the season. Claiming the championship trophy today would be a fitting cap to a record-breaking year. The NASCAR Nationwide Series races Wild West style. Next, in the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix.
10, 9, 6,
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown for the second-to-last race of the 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series. It's 200 miles at the Phoenix International Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. The double-duty drivers, those Sprint Cup guys running both races, have just finished a little extra late in their final practice because of the rain shower earlier. The last 10 straight Nationwide Series races here have been won by double-duty guys. Denny Hamlin, one of 14 doing the double. They'll finish up their Cup debrief, change the uniform, and head out for driver introductions. Someone could definitely cart home a trophy today. In fact, two guys could cart home a trophy. The race winner and potentially Kyle Busch, who will be the headline maker of the day today, the #1 headline maker. Well, if somebody shouts trouble in turn 2 today, you'll probably see 4 guys spin around in their chairs faster than a driver in a speeding race car, because those will be the 4 inside this pit studio, sitting just outside the catch fence in turn #2. Alan Bestwick, Rusty Wallace, Brad Daugherty, Ray Evernham. Welcome to a racetrack the drivers love.
Oh, man, we're out here in the wild, wild west, buddy, and people love it. The drivers love this place. I mean, there's so much history at this place, it's unreal. The drivers like coming here because it's relaxing. It's fun to drive. The track is a really cool shape that I like a lot. And you know what, Brad, you talk about drivers. Some of the world's greatest drivers have raced out here. You're talking about A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti, Pernelli Jones. They've all been at this historic place.
Wow, you're exactly right, Rusty. And it's real interesting as you talk to the drivers. They really enjoy this racetrack. 1 and 2, you have to be able to get those 2 corners down. 3 and 4, the race car is going to be a little bit loose, a little bit fast, but you get to drive the race car. You get to drive the track. You're not worried about being aero loose like we do at these 1.5 miles and places like that.
On the gas to get down this back straightaway, even though it's not really straightaway, Alan, there's a turn in it. And 3 and 4 is a little bit wore out. It gets a little bit more sun on it because of the way the grandstands are built around here, so it's slicker and harder to get off of.
Yeah. Funny how they'd put a turn in the middle of the straightaway.
This happens.
It's just one of those little different things. Of course, Kyle Busch will be headline #1 on the day today. Here are the scenarios under which he could clinch the NASCAR Nationwide Series championship in this, the second-to-last race of the year. Kyle's up 247 points over Carl Edwards. If Kyle leads by 195 or more at the end of the day, the championship is his, even without having to run the finale next weekend at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Rusty, Ray, you've been through it before, coming to a racetrack on the verge of clinching a championship. What are Kyle and his team going through?
Man, I'd say that's a tough one, Alan. It's a great question. I was here back in 1989 when I won my championship. And going into this particular race, I had everybody in the world coming up to me telling me, Rusty, you should do it this way. Now, look, I've had the best drivers, 4 of the best drivers. I had 4 of the best car owners saying, hey, take it easy, guard your position. The other ones are saying, go for it. Some of them are saying, do what you've done to get you where you've been. And they were giving me all this stuff. So I soaked it all in. I started the race. I had a half a lap lead, and I had a lap car get in the side of me and I wrecked.
That's why
so it's a big old wreck.
That's why they've just got to race their race. They've got to race the same way they've been racing, because that's really the only thing that can take that away from him right now. A crash, a flat tire, a mechanical problem, and they can't worry about that stuff. They prepared the best they can. They've got to go and race and try and win this race.
For Kyle Busch, it's first or nothing. He doesn't want to finish second. He doesn't want a points race. None of that is applicable to what this young man tries to do. So because of his attitude and the way he attacks the racetrack, he's going for a win, which is maximum points applied. So if he does what he's done all year long, he is the champion.
You want to take the big trophy home in style. You take it home by winning the race and the championship, right? Last Saturday's race in Texas is an example of why Kyle Busch is in position to clinch the title here.
now the green flag is flying, and we're racing here at Texas. Here comes Kyle on the inside, and there he goes, just zipping around him. Kyle Busch in control. There's Justin Allgaier. This is huge implications because Rookie of the Year is at stake for him.
Yeah, I'm good. Just got loose up off there.
Oh, caution. Joey Logano. Wow, that's a tough hit. Meanwhile, Carl Edwards started at the back.
He's done an outstanding job of coming from the rear of the field.
Awesome job, guys.
4 in a row here in Texas for Kyle Busch.
Now, we need to point out, Kyle Busch's advantage over second place is 25 points smaller than it was at the end of that Texas race. On Wednesday, NASCAR fined his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, $5,000 and took 25 points away from Kyle and owner Joe Gibbs for improperly secured weight found in last Thursday's opening inspection at Texas. To show us what that was all about, let's head over to the Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. Tim?
Thanks, AB. We use tungsten to make minimum weight located in the frame rail. But if you want to increase the front weight, you've only got one frame rail, so we use these additional weight boxes. The weight box is mounted to the inside of the frame rail. But for illustration, you bring it out here, they actually had it bolted on the inside. But the team gave the impression that it was welded by having a bead of weld on the front and the back. But Joe Balish, the series director, told me after he made them unbolt it, what it do? It fell off. So that's the reason Joe Balish implemented the penalty.
Don't drop that on your toe, Tim. We don't want any injuries over there. Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Now, one important thing to emphasize. That item was in the opening inspection last Thursday before the car ever went on the track. The car passed post-race tech inspection after the win with no problems whatsoever. I want you to look at some of the accomplishments for Kyle Busch and his team this season. So far, he has set 7 new Nationwide Series records.
Wow, that's unreal. I mean, I look at those numbers right there, guys, and I think, you know what? Whether you love or hate Kyle Busch, you really got to respect what this guy's done. I mean, the numbers he's laid down there, Brad, are just big numbers. I mean, nobody's been doing this stuff of late, and that's for sure. This guy just drives hard. He's wide open. He's a little brash off the racetrack, on the track, gets people mad on the radio, but he stands on the gas. There is no doubt about that, and you got to respect that part.
Yeah, you look at these numbers, they are remarkable. And I go back to when I was knee-high to a giraffe, because I've never been knee-high to a June bug. When I was a little guy, my hero was Jack Ingram, who raced out of my hometown in Asheville, North Carolina, and he's one of my buddies. And I've always thought he epitomized the old Sportsman Series, the Busch Series, and now the Nationwide Series. As I look at these numbers, I'm putting Kyle Busch into that same category of legendary race car driver and knee-high to a giraffe. You like that, didn't you?
You have to follow that. Go ahead. You have to follow that.
I know. Like Jack Ingram, those numbers show he deserves to win this championship. Jack's a great champion, but if you look at those numbers, that's what a championship's about, and that's why he's in the position. And over again, he puts that car up front, and he's racking up those kind of numbers. He deserves to carry that trophy home at the end of this year.
Comparing Kyle to Jack Ingram, one of the all-time greats of this series, that's a high compliment you just paid him, and Kyle deserves it. I absolutely agree.
Knee-high to a June bug.
Giraffe.
What does that mean? You said June bug.
Well, you're little if it's a June bug,
Okay,
but
all right.
I've never been little.
But we digress. Kyle finishing up his debrief with his Sprint Cup team after final practice ended late because of some rain earlier, so we'll hear from Kyle in just a minute. First, our J-Ski news and notes. Trevor Bayne, the young man who's impressed many this season, is going to run for new Gary Bechtel-Michael Waltrip Racing partnership in the Nationwide Series next year. Braun Racing announced this week they're going to run 4 cars in the Nationwide Series next season. Brian Scott joins their driver lineup after running the Truck Series this year. The ARCA Series is going to let its teams utilize current Nationwide Series cars. That'll help both sides. Old Cup cars are getting hard to find, and Nationwide Series teams begin changing to their new car next year.
Hey, Brad, I know a place that you and I can sell some cars at now.
You're not kidding. I know we can use some of those cars in that ARCA Series. We can get them all they want.
And one further note, congratulations to Ron Hornaday, the 51-year-old Californian, clinched his 4th NASCAR Camping World Truck Series championship by finishing 4th in last night's race here at Phoenix. The Double Donuts.
Yeah, great side-by-side burnout, but great night for Kevin Harvick Racing. Kevin wins the race. Hornaday goes on to win the championship. Those guys have shown dominance in this Truck Series.
It's going to be a happy Monday at Kevin Harvick Incorporated when they get back in North Carolina, that's for sure.
How appropriate. Ron Hornaday, who used to dominate years ago out here in the Southwestern Series, wins the championship at his home track, basically.
51 years old, buddy.
51 years young, brother.
Kevin Harvick walking to the grid for driver introductions today. He starts third in this NASCAR Nationwide Series race. We are in the Wild, Wild West.
Wild, Wild West. That's James West. Actually, I like Robert Conrad better than Will Smith as James West.
Referencing an old TV show for younger members of our audience.
Yes, sir.
They used to prospect gold in these parts. Now they're going to dig for a silver trophy. How about that?
Like that. There
At
you go.
Phoenix International Raceway. NASCAR Countdown in the Valley of the Sun.
NASCAR Countdown, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side.
Just saw final practice for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Tomorrow, the second to last race in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Jimmy Johnson's troubles at Texas, allowing Mark Martin to gain a lot of ground in the championship. Jimmy's won 3 of the last 4 here. Mark's the most recent winner. How's it all going to play out? The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Phoenix, presented by Goodyear Coverage, tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern on ABC. The man trying to keep Kyle Busch from locking up the NASCAR Nationwide Series title today, as he has been all season, is Carl Edwards, the 07 champ. Carl has 4 wins this year, but the difference between he and Kyle, among other things, has been bonus points. Those extra points given for leading a lap and leading the most laps in a race. Kyle's earned 110 more than Carl, has outrun him head-to-head 2/3 of the time. And there was one 8-race stretch from June to mid-July where the gap between the two just blew completely wide open. Carl tries to keep from being closed out today from the second starting spot. Dave?
And Carl Edwards greeting his friends and family and everyone who seems to just hoard around you here whenever you come up to driver intros, as usual. Hey, I got to ask you, Carl, as we get down to the end of the season here, mathematically, it's kind of getting out of reach here. Do you change your game mentally when you know that? Have you moved on, or do you change anything about how you drive mentally, knowing Kyle's so far ahead?
It's lucky I don't do very well at math, because we're going to go out here and drive as, I'm going to drive as hard as I can. We have a very fast Valvoline Ford, and at this point, I know that that's a very, very tough lead to make go away. And the only way we can do it, though, is to do our best we can, hope for some crazy thing to happen. But in the end, it's just about getting wins at this point, building for next season. We made some changes, and hopefully we work well with Mike Kelly, and we can have something to go to Daytona with. But wins are what it's about right now.
Second week with the new group. How good is your race car here? It obviously qualified very well.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm still looking over your shoulder. That shocked me with Tagliani's crash in practice.
It was big.
That was wild. Our car is good. It's really good. And in practice, we were a 10th or so faster than most of the other cars. In qualifying, I didn't get the pole, but I felt like the car was really fast. And to me, this has been one of my best tracks. And that sun being out is good for me to make it really slippery. There'll be a lot of hard racing out there today.
The weather working in Carl's favor. Jamie?
Well, after the dominating performance by Kyle Busch last weekend, he has a 247-point advantage over Carl Edwards. And at this point, a lot of drivers would be in protect mode with 2 to go. Kyle, what is your agenda today?
I just go out there and race the race, see how good our car is. And, the NOS Energy Drink Camry was decent, but it's probably about a 5th place car. There's some cars that are pretty good. Harvick, the 20, the 60, those guys. So we'll just see what we can play out.
I know you have a lot on your mind. You just came from Cup practice, but now you're thinking big picture, and it could happen today. You've already broken 7 records this year, and one thing left to do, and that's win the championship. Have you allowed yourself to even think about what that would mean?
Not yet. We haven't gotten it. So, it doesn't mean much until you get it. It can still go away.
It isn't over until it's over. Kyle Busch, thank you very much, and he'll roll off 4th. Alan?
Okay, Jamie, thanks. We started this season for the Nationwide Series 10 months ago at Daytona, saying the championship would be a Carl versus Kyle fight this year. It has been, with a little Brad Keselowski thrown in. We saw those bonus points numbers. When you look at the championship fight over the course of 2009, what's been the difference between the two?
I just really think, guys, it's been Gibbs's year. That 18 car and that 20 car, every single time they unload, the preparation has been unreal. Not only have they been prepared well, they've been real fast. And you got to give it to Kyle Busch. This guy is a chassis guy. He's drove the trucks. He's drove the Cups, the Nationwide cars, all of them. And he's the type of guy that gets in the hood with his team, understands what he's driving, and he's very, very good at it. He's all in, I say.
Yeah.
And this is a type of driver you need to win a championship. You got to hand it to Kyle. He was just a better driver this this year than what happened with Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards is strong, no doubt about it, but that cat right there was right on every single race all through the year.
Yeah, every time they loaded him up, it was an opportunity to win. But for me, it's when we come to go back to Phoenix in April. And Kyle came here and didn't have the greatest run. He had a good day going, struggled at the end, had some mechanical issues, but ended up coming back and finishing 10th. Carl Edwards, on the other hand, could not take advantage of the opportunity and ended up finishing 33rd. That was a day he needed to go out and do what he normally does, finish in the top 2 or the top 5 and gain some points and momentum. Instead, he ends up finishing 33rd. Kyle ends up finishing 10th. And it just kind of set itself up.
Edwards was leading when he had the electrical problems on the engine. Kyle, meanwhile, had the transmission get stuck in gear, had to pit again after a pit stop. Then they came in, they had a broken shock, they had to replace that, and he made up both laps and he finished 10th.
Well, when it's your day, it's your day. You know? And again, I don't know that it was all about the missed opportunities. I do believe that one of the missed opportunities that we're going to see right here in the early laps of Michigan, Carl comes just across the nose of young Trevor Bayne, gets wrecked early, cost him a lot of points, stood up and took some responsibility from that. But I do believe that the Ford camp has not been as strong as the Toyota camp all year. And we've got to remember that Carl's also gone through some crew chief changes. He did not have the consistency that Kyle Busch had this year with his crew.
So a couple missed opportunities. By the way, that Phoenix race that Brad was talking about, that one day was where the championship went from Carl Edwards to Kyle Busch. The point lead changed hands. It never changed hands again rest of the season. Somebody else to mention, Brad Keselowski right there, who's close to Carl Edwards for second in points. He's only 20 points back with 2 races to go. You don't want to give up that runner-up spot if you're Carl either. He's looking forward, but he's looking back as well. Now, qualifying was held late this morning local time. You heard Dave and Carl talking about Alex Tagliani's crash. Watch this.
Yeah, I was standing right down there in the corner. That car came off the turn, and it's almost like it unloaded on him. As I look back through the videotape, though, you see him starting to slide. You hear the car start to slide. And, I mean, he hit a lick and then came back down and tagged the inside wall. Look at that thing doing the hop there.
Was that one of you? Were you one of the guys running away from the catch fence there?
I was gone, son. That's right. Gone.
Tagliani's in the backup car. He starts 41st. Fastest was Denny Hamlin driving a
Gibbs car. We talked about the 18 and the 20 car. Look at this. He's got another great qualifying run going on, and Denny's going to be strong today.
It's not a track record, man. He was flying.
Denny finished second in this race a year ago. Can he be one better today, Shannon?
That's right. Just like Brad said, it was a new track record for Denny Hamlin. Your best finish in the Nationwide Series this season is 17th, Denny. But given your recent runs at this racetrack, could be the weekend you turn it around. How good is that car?
Yeah, well, we got taken out on a few of those, but you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, it's tough to run and you know, go all out for race wins because you don't care about second or anything like that, and that's kind of the mentality we're going to have today. We're going to go for the win, and hopefully we can get this Nintendo Super Mario Brothers car to lay a bunch of I think it's red turtles behind in front of our competition. We'll see.
Red turtles. Okay. Well, the big story, obviously, this weekend in the Nationwide Series is your teammate Kyle Busch. How much are you willing to help him today in his quest for his first championship?
I think he's got it probably on his own. He don't need much of my help, but it'd be nice if we could battle for the win. You know, hopefully we do it like happened last night with the Truck Series, and maybe I can win and he can lock up the championship. I'll finish second.
I watch for Denny Hamlin and those red turtles today here at Phoenix International Raceway. Alan?
Got to avoid those when you play those video games. Watch the red turtles. Now, got a championship on the line today here in Phoenix, and part of our ESPN Motorsports coverage this weekend is another race with a championship at stake. Let's bring in Marty Reed up in the booth, ready to call this one here. Who's got more on that, Marty?
Well, Alan, you've already talked about how Kyle Busch can clinch today here at Phoenix. Out in Pomona, California, it's the final race of the season for the NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing Series. 4 champions will be crowned, but there is one that is just magical. Top Fuel. They came into this weekend separated by 1 point. After 2 rounds of qualifying, they're still separated by 1 point. I'm talking about Larry Dixon and Tony Schumacher, and our man out there is Paul Page. And Paul, you've got to be pumped because this is going to be fun.
Oh, Marty, this is one of those days that you wait for the whole season. Last race of the year, and we're going to decide not just this, but all of the championships in the pro categories. The crowd, we expect it to be tremendous, and the weather, absolutely great. Tony Schumacher and Larry Dixon, that's the battle in Top Fuel. Between them, they have 109 Top Fuel wins. Between them, they have 8 Top fuel championships, and between them, the last 7 in a row. That's the kind of matchup we're talking when these machines and these teams with 8,000 horsepower, 1,000 horsepower a cylinder, face one another. Larry Dixon came in here 1 point behind Tony Schumacher. Thursday qualifying, Friday qualifying, and now he has the top fuel lead for the first time this season by a single point. But that man, Tony Schumacher, is a machine. He can replicate those runs. He knows how to get it done, and he's going to go up against one of the calmest, coolest guys in the business, and that's Larry Dixon, Marty.
Well, we're going to be looking for it. You know where I'm going to be stationed tonight and tomorrow. Let's tell everybody at home. We'll see you guys on ESPN2 at 10:30 Eastern tonight, and then the finals when they'll all be decided 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow on ESPN2. Thanks, Paul.
Two races to go in the NASCAR Nationwide Series season for 2009. As has become tradition, the second to last race brings the circuit to the Valley of the Sun to run 200 miles at the Phoenix International Raceway. This track first came to prominence as an IndyCar venue in the 60s and 70s, became a showplace for stock cars when NASCAR came to town in 1988. One of 43 drivers today is going to put his name alongside Foyt, Unser, Earnhardt, and more on the list of Phoenix winners. Let's go trackside for the opening ceremony.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats. Phoenix Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Phoenix International Raceway Chaplain Ken Bowers offers today's invocation.
Thank you, our Heavenly Father, for the beautiful day you've blessed us with. As the clouds have cleared, the sunshine reminds us of your love. We thank you for the blessing of accountability. We're all accountable to those we serve, but most importantly, we're accountable to you. Know our hearts and help us, O Lord, each and every day. Now may we have a safe race, and may we all be thankful for all of your blessings. These things we pray in your name, and everyone said, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2009 Emmy Award winner Dr. Jesse McGuire as he performs our national anthem.
Right there.
I used to play the trumpet in high school. It didn't sound anything like that. No, didn't. No, I never said I was good either. But that was. So, headline number one on this day, can Kyle Busch clinch the championship? Can Carl or Keselowski make him cool his heels till next time? And the question that's the most fun answering, who's going to win? We check out some of those championship contenders now with some reports from Pit Road. Here's Vince Welch.
Well, Alan, Kyle Busch spent part of this week on his first ever hunting trip, and at one would have a shot and maybe catch some big game on his hunting trip. Don't expect Kyle to be that generous today. He needs to finish 7th or better to clinch the title, but this team wants to go for the kill. They want to win the championship by earning a trip to victory lane. He's won here twice before, and they believe they've got the car to win again. Jamie?
Well, Carl Edwards crew chief Mike Kelly told me yesterday, if they have any chance at stopping Kyle Busch from clinching this championship, it will come today. Not only is their goal to win next race, now they're keeping Kyle in their sights. They're also thinking about the 88 of Brad Keselowski. They must gain the maximum amount of points in order to finish top 2 in the points. It's all on their minds, Shannon.
Well, speaking of hunting, Brad Keselowski and this 88 team, they are on the hunt for the 60 team. Just 20 points separate Brad from Carl Edwards and finishing second in the point standing this season, which is his goal. Phoenix is the perfect track for him to make up some ground. In 12 starts on tracks 1 mile or less, Brad Keselowski has 11 top fives, including 3 wins. He's also driving the car he drove to victory lane at Memphis here today. And you could be sure that he is going to know where that 60 team is the entire race. Dave?
Shannon, the 11 CJM Racing team has a great opportunity to play spoiler both this week with Mike Bliss and next week at Homestead with Denny Hamlin. But without a driver signing or a sponsor announcement lately, this team's future is undetermined. Yet, the guys have not bolted from this team. Why? Because they feel they're fierce competitors and they've developed a family atmosphere here at CJM. Kind of the reason they got into racing in the first place. They feel like they can ride the momentum of Mike Bliss's last 3 top 10s today and hopefully bring home the first win for this team. Alan?
Dave, thank you. Kyle Busch has led this championship for so long now, since mid-April. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of some of the great stories involved in these final 2 races, fighting for final positions in the NASCAR Nationwide Series after a season's worth of work. We'll track some of those stories today, as well as Kyle Busch's attempt to clinch the crown. The engines fire next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Phoenix is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, America's most reliable wireless network, and Goodyear, innovative technology to help you get there.
14 times in the 28-year history of the NASCAR Nationwide Series, the championship's been locked up before the season's final race. The opportunity there for Kyle Busch to do that today as the second-to-last race of the year unfolds at the Phoenix International Raceway. Some quick race. In the season, he's won the championship. Kevin Harvick, 2006. The last 10 Phoenix Nationwide Series races won by a Cup driver, 14 of them in the field today. And as mentioned before, there has been a caution in the last 5 laps of the last 6 Phoenix races. We'll see how this one plays out in the final going. Time to go trackside and get the race underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to give today's command, please welcome retired Deputy Commanding General, U.S. Army Special Operations Command, Major General Gary Harrell, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Fired up. Crank it up, gang. Fired up. 10-4. Engine fired. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All that on right away. We should be good to go. Got you, little buddy.
Won't have to sit there long on the pit lane and warm up today. It is a beautiful afternoon here in the Valley of the Sun as we get set for some racing at Phoenix International Raceway. So let's head upstairs to a couple of guys who know that feeling. What it's like to put your hands on that championship trophy and hoist it into the air for the first time. Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie ready to call the race along with Marty Reed. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm the one that's never done that routine, Alan. Hey, you know, 12 out of 15 times that we've raced here at Phoenix, including the last 6, the winner has come from the top 4. You guys have already talked about number 2 qualifier Carl Edwards, number 4 qualifier Kyle Busch. I'm going to put these 2 guys on, pole sitter Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I'm going to go right to the top with Denny Hamlin. I think that streak could very well stay intact today. Denny Hamlin has a great race car. He's with a team that knows how to win, and he knows how to get the job done on these flat racetracks. So look for Denny Hamlin to be up front all day and possibly go to victory lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody knows how to win more at this racetrack than Kevin Harvick. He's got 7 total wins in all the series, including last night's truck race, and his truck also won the championship with Ron Hornaday. So he's got a lot of momentum on his side, and he is now eligible to try to pull off that triple. He's in all 3 races.
All right, we've also got a lot of action coming throughout this field. We've talked about the battle for 5th and on down through the battle through 10th with 2 races remaining. Our in-race reporter today is going to be Carl Edwards, and we're going to get a chance to talk to him right now. DJ?
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
Hey, Carl, I was going to ask you about your car yesterday in practice and everything, but we just saw a shot of you a minute ago putting some more tape on your windshield. Sun's going to be a real factor here today going that front straightaway, huh?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, it comes right through the gap from the suites and the grandstands. You're staring. I mean, you know how it is. You're staring right down into a dark corner, and you kind of got to squint your eyes, and then last minute you turn in and you wait for your eyes to adjust. So we're trying to get this tape right, but this valvoline fusion's pretty fast, man. I'm excited about this race today.
Okay, Carl, our next question comes from our mailbag, and we all know that you changed crew chief last week, and Dan from Gridley, Illinois asked, what did your new crew chief, Mike Kelly, have to do to adjust working with you last week versus spending the season with David Reagan?
Well, you know, Mike's been doing a great job, but Dan Stillman and David Reagan beat us last week, so you know, we ran pretty well. We didn't run as well as we wanted, but the goal there is to make all the teams better. And you know, Mike's just got to get used to my idiosyncrasies, and I've got to get used to his. And we've been working pretty well together. We've been having a good time.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking with us. Have a great day, and now we'll let Andy talk to Mike Kelly.
Hey, Mike, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Andy, 10-4.
Hey, Mike, you just came over here to this 60 team to try to get a head start on next year. What will you work on, say, this race and maybe next week at Homestead to try to get you there to be better next year to win this championship?
The thing we're working on right now is the communication with me and Carl, just understanding what he wants in a car, what he wants for changes, trying to see what he needs to make him better and get used to some of these guys over here on this team. And working on some cars, we're going to take Homestead next week and try and work on some things to get ourselves better for the mile-and-a-half program.
Okay, Mike, you got a good one sitting there in that 60 car. Do him a good job. Good luck today.
4, thanks.
Well, and talking to Mike earlier, he said, to elaborate on that, it's like David Reagan's version of a 2 between a 1 and 10 in tightness, and Carl's, they're totally different. That's what he's adjusting to. Green flag when we come back. All right, let's set the starting field for you across the top of your screen, and you'll see Denny Hamlin on the pole, his 14th career pole, a new track record, 26.87 seconds. That's 3/100ths better than the old mark. 4 cars did not make the field. Chris Lawson, Blake Cook, Darrell Haar, and Morgan Shepherd. See the 43 other drivers that are in the field across the top. Our over-the-wall reporter from the 27 car, Jason Kell. There's Jack Man, John Reese from Joliet, Tennessee, his 6th year of going over the wall. He's got Jack in hand and ready to roll.
Ready to go, baby.
All right, as we get ready, we're going to green flag this next time by. In countdown, you heard Rusty and the gang talking about the brake checking and everything that can happen on the start of this race. It makes it very treacherous here with this very narrow front stretch.
Yeah, most of the time these guys do a good job of getting the race started without getting too antsy, but those double file restarts later in the race, that could really be an issue here.
Yeah, and the sun does affect those also.
47 of Chris Cook is being black flagged already. No pit box, no crew chief. So they're going to park him before the start. So we can't even call him a start and park. To the rears, Joe Nemechek with an engine. Alex Tagliani as a result of that big crash that you saw back in qualifying. And we're set to go as we get ready through turn number 4. The pace car getting ready to turn down. And this crowd, although on the light side compared to other times we've been here, very enthusiastic on their feet. The penultimate round. The 34th race in the 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series from Phoenix International Raceway is green. This is how quick you can fly around this 1-mile racetrack. We're going to do it 200 times. Coming out of turn number 4, Denny Hamlin, our pole sitter, is going to be our race leader. So Super Mario on the hood is super out front.
Right behind him, Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards are going at it.
Then Kyle Busch is in 4th, Boyer 5th, then Jason Leffler in 6th.
You can see Carl Edwards able to take that second spot back away from Kevin Harvick from that outside now. That's good to see if we're going to be able to see 2 grooves really work here today.
A little bit further back, take a look at 2 grooves right there. In that mix, the 12 of Justin Allgaier. And talking to Justin earlier yesterday, he said, you know, I got to be honest, I've been focusing on protecting my position in the points. He said, I got to stop doing that. He says, I'm going to go to what I do best, and that's run the race.
You know, that's so many times we talk about what do you do as we see it battling right here. But you just have to go race. At the end of the day, it's what you do. You just race, take the most points or make the most points that you possibly can, and all of that will take care of itself.
You see 2 cars back, Brad Keselowski. Keselowski did not have a good starting position, qualified only 17th. Back to the battle for second place as they come out of the shadows of the grandstands in turn 2. It's Carl Edwards in front of Kevin Harvick.
Yes, the guy's still going at it.
Checking in on Justin Allgaier. Remember the battle for 5th in the championship chase. We'll keep you posted on this. It's Allgaier in 12th. Stephen Wallace, who just 4 races ago was in that mix, but now it's Mike Bliss that's got the best chance. Whoa, and a little touch between the 88 of Keselowski and Stephen.
Yeah, I talked to Stephen at the airport. He was very confident that this was his kind of race that he could do very well at. He's a great short track driver. He's good everywhere, but this is one track that he feels like he could possibly get a win at.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski there in the 88. See him dive to the inside. He's just looking for somewhere to go. Didn't get the qualifying effort that he wanted. He's in a battle for that second spot in the points.
Well, we mentioned the 47 was already black flagged, and it looks now like the 85 has gone behind the wall to park it with Casey Atwood. I mentioned at the beginning of the race how Jason Leffler looking for his first win of the year. He is running 7th right now in a battle with Mike Bliss, and Bliss in 6th.
Yeah, 2 Toyotas there battling, 2 drivers that have done a really good job, and I think came in here with their sights set on this is an opportunity for them to run extremely well and have a chance at winning the race. Even though, Marty, you talked earlier in our show that how many times the Cup drivers have dominated this race.
And this is the last time you'll see Mike Bliss in this 11 car. He'll drive the 1 car next week at Homestead, but as you can see how the points are right now, that he's battling for that top 5 spot.
Speaking of the 1 car, there is James Buescher. He's going to be in this ride all next season. And the last time that we'll see Kleenex on the 27 car with Jason Keller behind the wheel. That sponsorship ends at the end of this race.
Oh, trouble.
Oh, trouble. And it's Kyle Busch, our points leader.
Yikes.
I don't know if he just got the left front into the wall there as he slid across.
Got the right rear tag. Clint Boyer also in this mix. Our first caution is out. And what we saw last week in the Cup Series, all of a sudden we see it this week in the Nationwide Series.
Well, Kyle has a pretty large point lead.
Front, 4 tires.
But he's definitely got some damage here.
But this does not look anywhere near as bad as last week involving Jimmy Johnson.
They'll keep him going. They'll get in the pits here and pull these fenders out. Keep him going now. He may not be as competitive as he was, but he'll be able to stay on the racetrack and stay on the lead lap.
So under our first caution here on lap number 9, let's go back and take another look.
It looks like maybe Kyle just got loose coming up out of turn 2. Difficult part of the track. Yeah, he gets loose, and then, yeah, the 29 gets into him just barely, but Kyle was the one already out of control. Very difficult exit of turn 2. Then he hits the inside wall with the left front.
See right here, that's got to be difficult. They're going through these shadows and coming out. You got to get right next to that wall.
Yeah, there's just no grip to be had there either. So you put all of those things together. It's just a very difficult part of the racetrack. Dave?
And DJ, you need to describe for the folks what it feels like to drive a car that is quote-unquote tight in the center and loose off, because that is what he has been complaining about since this drop of the green flag, pushing really bad in the center of the corner and then snappy loose off. Those are 2 different ways to describe it, DJ. What's it like?
Well, yeah, you've got so much wheel because you're trying to get it turned through the center. You have to keep that wheel in it, and then all of a sudden, whenever it takes some grip then with the front end, then all of a sudden the back end jumps out from underneath you. So that's very difficult for the crew chief to fix and very hard for a driver to drive.
You can see Kyle Busch has come in. They're going to change.
Yeah, they're just going to fix the big things first. Try to get this left front fender clear of the tire. They're working on that rear bumper. You need to attach it so it doesn't come loose and get where they'll get black flagged.
Get it out. Keep hitting. Keep hitting. Get it out. Just through the dog leg, almost into 3. Jay, get the left rear on, bud.
Hey guys, just like we saw last week, the disaster drill for the 48 team, the 18 bunch assessing before he got here what they could and then repairing it on pit road as the spotter tells them where the pace car is. The pace car cannot pass him while he's sitting here or he'll go a lap down. So the idea is to get as much done as they can before they have to leave pit road and avoid dropping that lap.
And well, they better get him out because look at the top of your screen. There comes the pace car. He will stay on the lead lap. We'll update everything when we come back. Back here at the able-bodied Labor 200 at Phoenix International Raceway, the drama has already begun to unfold in the championship. A still comfortable margin. We'll update that in a second, but let's go back to green flag racing with Denny Hamlin on the inside. Then it's Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, Mike Bliss, Jason Leffler. That's your top 5.
See if Carl was able to hang on that outside with Denny. And he gets a nice run through the center of the corner.
Yeah, he got a big run there. Real high on the racetrack.
Kyle Busch restarted in 34th position. Don't forget also that the 29 was involved. And look at the points right now. The magic number is 195, and Kyle can't fight his way back up. He's not going to clinch it today.
Well, here's 5 more bonus points right here that Carl gets for leading that lap. So he can cut into it a little bit more.
So it's now Edwards, followed by Hamlin. Mike Bliss up to 3rd. He's got a good run going here. Harvick, Leffler, and Reagan. That's your top 6. Now, we mentioned the fact that the 29 was also involved in this. Boyer is moving up quickly, though. He's up to 26, Dave.
Well, Marty, I'm going to take it here, and Clint Boyer indicated that Kyle had just pulled right in front of him on his radio. He said, I had no choice. They didn't think, actually, that he had made contact with Kyle, though, and, of course, they did both go spinning. No body damage on the 29 of Clint Boyer when he came in to get 4 tires and have his car surveyed, although they think maybe got a hole in the header, but most importantly, no body damage for the 29.
Well, and they're back together, nose to tail, but this time it's Boyer in front of the 18, and there is Trevor Bayne, who had a horrible qualifying effort earlier today, started way back into the field. David?
And from up top on the spotter stand, Kyle was encouraged to do it just like Harvick did last night, 1 at a time. Remember Kevin Harvick in the truck race last night, right at this track, spun on lap 6. He went on to win the race, coming back from a big deficit. That's what Kyle was told, 1 at a time, and we can do it.
Well, the one difference, though, was Harvick did not hit anything, but it looks like the damage is not going to hurt the performance of this car right now from what we're seeing.
Yeah, so far, it looks like they did a nice job of getting everything patched up and beat out. Sometimes, Andy, you can actually beat that fender out a little bit more, get a little more downforce there.
Yeah, sometimes you can get just a little more than they maybe allow you because you don't have to go back through inspection. Here's a lead change.
Yes, sir. Put Hamlin zipping past the 60 of Carl Edwards, retaking the race lead. So now we'll have our second lead change between these 2 drivers, and in 3rd, it is still Mike Bliss. Let's get more from Shannon Spake.
Well, it was a little bit of foreshadowing from Carl Edwards before the green flag dropped for this race. He came over the radio and he told his team, guys, we never give up no matter what the point situation is. We are going to battle to the end. He did ask his team what happened to the 18 team, knowing that he has an opportunity to capitalize. Guys, this is a great track for Carl Edwards. Won in this race last season, led 79 laps when we were here earlier in April. Right now, the car is just a little bit loose for the 60. Vince.
Well, Denny Hamlin in that 20, and you saw when he made that move, the car must be handling well, and it is. He says pretty good in the center, which is always key here at Phoenix, and it's okay in. So far he's got the corners taken care of, but a little bit free when he gets back on the throttle. He's also very relaxed. Doug Hewitt, the crew chief, said, you want me to give you lap times? And Denny said, not right now, maybe later. So far, so good for the 20 car.
All right, thank you, guys. Let's get you updated on some of the starting parks because we've had a lot of action here early. Kevin Hamlin has just gone behind the wall. So has Terry Cook, Johnny Chapman, Casey Atwood, Dennis Sesser, and we mentioned Chris Cook. First time things have calmed down a little bit on the racetrack here as we're working a lap number 20. A lot of action here early at Phoenix, but now Denny Hamlin has opened up about a half-second lead over Carl Edwards.
Yeah, and Carl's plan hasn't changed, even knowing that Kyle Busch had some problems. He came here to win this race, lead as many laps as he possibly can. Problem with him leading laps is going to be that 20 car. Looks like he's set on go today.
Well, and there's the 3rd place car, Mike Bliss, and right now, with where he is at, he has taken over 5th position in that points championship, and there is Harvick trying to take the spot away from him for 3rd.
Yeah, this is just a tough place to pass. Kevin Harvick's been right on his bumper, up beside him, just can't make that happen. But Mike Bliss is giving this 11 car a great run once again. Shannon?
Yeah, a little more difficult for Mike Bliss because that 11 car is just a little bit tight as you see Kevin Harvick go down to the inside of that 11 car of Mike Bliss. I spoke with Mike today, and he told me, every time we come to these short tracks or these mile tracks, ones that are less than a mile and a half, I feel like I have a shot at winning. I said, do you think you're better than the 18? He said, you know, I looked to Memphis. We had a great car at Memphis. We definitely battled with the 18, and we contended with them. And I feel that we are just as good here today. If we can get to them, we can definitely get them. And right now, they've got them on the track, obviously, because of the problems that Kyle Busch has had. Jamie?
And Kevin Harvick, you guys talked about him winning the truck race last night. He sits in 4th right now, but he told his team, guys, I'm really good. I think we're all the same right now out here. We're a little bit loose, but he really thinks he's better than this 60. And he is confident in this car. Why? It is a brand new race car. Last night, he brought a brand new truck, and a lot of the information transferred. So this team has high expectations for this 33 car. Marty?
And you can see he's still taking a look underneath the 11, but can't get the job done right now. Got a fender on him, and now all of a sudden you saw the hand come out of the window, and Bliss told him, take it.
Yeah, if you want it that bad, go ahead and take it. Yeah, we heard him talking about this 33 being a brand new race car. I love brand new race cars when you come to a flat track because they're usually lighter. As you run these race cars, they seem to get heavier and heavier, and they're never as light as they are when you first build them, so you can put that lid and that ballast where you want it.
Let's drop back and update Kyle Busch because he has moved up 19 spots since the restart, and there he is going underneath James Buescher, and Trevor Bayne has hooked on and is moving forward. Bayne, as you see, the biggest movers on the track. He has come up 15 spots. Kyle 19. Bowyer has now come up 18 since the restart. And how this has affected the points? Well, it's starting to come back within grasp, 190, and the magic number is only 5 markers.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle's car is great by any means or perfect, but it wasn't before he crashed either. Obviously, he wouldn't have crashed.
Car I've ever had here.
Well, I think he just told you what kind of car he had here.
I tell you, Clint Bowyer did an outstanding job right here in this 29 car of avoiding the contact with Kyle Busch when he crashed. And I think that Kyle owes him a little bit of a thank you because he had to spin this car to miss that 18 car, and it didn't cause any damage to him. And now he's coming back up through the field.
He has moved up to the 11th spot. So, again, both these guys getting back into the mix. You can see where he fell back as a result of the caution. And on the restart, 31st, now up to 11th.
Yeah, and a little advantage these guys have is they put tires on during that exchange when they were in the pits to repair the damage. So that's going to help them, and especially as they run on here. So as long as they have enough tires for the rest of the day, this could be very beneficial to them.
So as this race begins to unfold and settle a little bit, there's your top 5 after 27 of 200 laps. A championship still to be decided. Well, this week, ABC Saturday Night Football, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a must-win game against number 12 Pitt. And can Notre Dame bounce back from their loss to Navy? Well, it's Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Some parts of the nation will see Texas Tech versus number 19, Oklahoma State. Back here at Phoenix International Raceway, Denny Hamlin has a 0.6 of a second lead. You're on board with Trevor Bayne as the youngster started 37th, but he has now moved up to 14th, and he is on the move, as you can see. And boy, he was not happy with his race car through practice and qualifying, but right now he's on the fly. Dave?
And Marty, he told me before this race the reason he qualified so bad, they were first out, dusty racetrack, and kerosene from the jet dryers blowing off that dust. But you know, Trevor Bayne has been racing since he was 5 years old. And 2 years into his career, he went to the Bristol Motor Speedway to meet who he could, and they were famous race car drivers like Michael Waltrip, and he had his photo taken with Michael at age 5, right down there in the way lower right. That's little Trevor Bayne, 2-year veteran of racing already. Well, this week, he signed a contract with Michael Waltrip, which includes all the races in the Nationwide Series next year with Diamond Waltrip Racing, and then a commitment to Cup racing beyond that with Michael Waltrip. Somebody handed me this photo on the grid today, and I thought, hey, we got to show that.
It is a great picture. Trevor's grown a few inches since then.
He has, yeah. And he's grown into a good race driver, too, even though he doesn't have a lot of time in these cars. Very impressive young man behind the wheel.
Leader is heading into lap traffic now, and there is Denny Hamlin. As you can see, he has gotten around the 0 car of Jeremy Clements. Kevin Harvick is closing in right there on the 60 for second place of Carl Edwards. So our in-race reporter's got his hands full again, and here goes Harvick for second.
Yeah, finally Carl Edwards looks there and sees how fast his 33 is and says, okay, you can have it for now. That's kind of the give and take that drivers will play, especially these Cup drivers early in a race.
Let's update you on another car that is pulled behind the wall. Joe Nemechek ran 26 total laps, but they had the hood up, and they have since gone to the garage. And it looks like the 07 as well. Danny O'Quinn is heading behind the wall. Now, if you were with us last week, remember Kevin Harvick was really up on the tire on his pit crew after the one stop that really cost them a number of positions. Jamie, what's the latest on all that?
Well, he really felt like he had a car to win, and he felt like his pit crew let him down. So this week, he made one major change, and that was his rear tire changer. He let him go and has a new guy. You see him on the right side there, Brian Bottlemey. He has never worked with this team before. He works on the 34 Cup team, but this is going to be his first time. Talk about pressure, guys. He didn't have a chance to practice with this team this week, so first time working with them. It's going to be the first stop today.
Man, talk about pressure. Now we're putting a spotlight on him too, and this is a good opportunity now for this 33 team today. They have a great race car today.
He obviously didn't watch the telecast last week because he might have thought that's the second time about taking that job if he had heard Kevin.
Well, Brian, we will wish you good luck as first round of stops are upcoming. We've run 39 of 200 laps. Denny Hamlin's out front by 1.6 seconds.
Almost a quarter of the way through today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race already. You're looking at the pole sitter, Denny Hamlin. He has been out in front for all but 4 of the now 44 laps that have been run. Championship picture's been a big headline early in this one. Carl Edwards right now running in third. Carl has led a lap earlier today. In fact, he led 4 laps. He's the only other guy besides Hamlin to have led. Carl fading back now to the number 3 spot, a second and 9/10 behind Hamlin. Other story of the day, Kyle Busch started the race in 4th position, was running in 4th when he spun at lap number 7 off turn number 2, dropped as far back as 35th while getting repairs. Now Kyle has moved his way back up to 12th position on the racetrack, and so he's inside the magic number. If Kyle leads by 195 or more at the end of the day, he'll lock up the Nationwide Series championship here at Phoenix today. How's his car after the crash and repairs? Here's what he said.
Real bad tight entry center, especially center. Yeah, I can see the nose dragging all the way in there, man. I think we just got to get the nose up. The thing won't travel. It was doing it before I wrecked it. That's why I wrecked.
Conversation between Kyle and his crew chief Jason Ratcliffe in the pit studio with Rusty, Brad, and Ray. Reaction to Kyle's race and what you just heard.
It's very unusual to see this 18 car having a problem at all. Usually it comes off the truck, handling really good, but obviously this thing is not handling at all early in the race. That's the reason they spun out and crashed the car. Now they just got to stay cool. Every single pit stop, stay working this car, try to get it better and better, get that left front fender you're seeing right there pulled out a little bit more, and this guy can bring home the championship today if he stays cool.
Well, the car has got some damage, and he did have to go to the rear of the field, and he has worked his way all the way back up to 12th, so it's not that bad. He might be having a little bit of trouble, got the right front tire built up, whatnot, but one of the important things that's going on is his teammate Denny Hamlin is keeping Carl Edwards from leading the most laps and getting another 5 points. They've just got to continue to work on that car, pick up one spot at a time. Looks like Carl Edwards has got a 3rd to 5th place car. If he finishes there and Kyle does what he does, he's going to win the championship today.
Look how he's already bounced back, though, guys. I mean, as you look at it, he is already up to 12, be threatening 11th pretty soon. And, you know, they had a pretty big-time event that happened to him. We thought it was going to be catastrophic, but they're already 204 points back up on Carl Edwards. All he has to do is maintain, talking about Kyle Busch, and he walks away with the trophy.
Yeah, Brad, last time Kyle Busch went by at 29.17, 29.17, and to compare to the leader at 29 flat, he's awful close right now to keeping the speed up where he needs to have it.
So after what happened to Jimmy Johnson in the Sprint Cup race last Sunday in Texas, this time in the Nationwide race, Kyle Busch is in trouble. 7 laps in, but so far the recovery has gone well. Quarter distance in, let's go up to Marty, DJ, and Andy, and Denny Hamlin looks like he's got it going on.
Yeah, he does, Alan, as he just put Mike Wallace a lap down. That means we have 23 cars on the lead lap, and Tony Raines is his next victim to fall right there. He's got a 7/10 6/10 of a second lead over Kevin Harvick. Carl Edwards is 2 seconds back. Then it's Mike Bliss, David Reagan. That is your top 5. And there is Harvick also getting under the 01 of Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Kevin looks like he has a really good race car. Not sure it's up to Denny Hamlin's standards right now, but he's really working the bottom, actually getting 2 tires down below that yellow line a couple of times to help get it turned off the corner.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he's not up to par for Denny Hamlin. I think he's got something for him if he can get clear this race traffic. He's starting to just slowly reel in that 20 car. He's not getting away from him by no means.
Yeah, I think everybody except maybe these front 2 would like to work on their race car, so they'd be looking for a caution, get in and make some adjustments.
Drop back a little bit further, and you can see the gap back to the 60 of Carl Edwards. Shannon, what's going on there?
Well, right now, Carl Edwards saying that the car is just a little bit loose still. He's also complaining of a little bit of a chatter in the front when he gets through the corners. His crew chief has recommended an air pressure adjustment on the next pit stop. But guys, this number 60 car, this exact car right now, they've definitely gotten their money's worth out of this car. It is the same one that won here in November. It also won at Milwaukee, and it's the same car they drove here this spring. So you know they've got a lot of confidence in their car, in their driver. They just have to make the right adjustments to get them up front.
Well, and his flat track program has always been very good this year.
Yeah, it certainly has, and a lot of that can be attributed, I think, to Carl's talent. But when I had a car that I liked, you felt good in the seat, and it won races, wanted to run it as much as possible.
He has 6 wins in 30 starts on 1-mile tracks. That's 1 out of every 5.
That means it's pretty good, doesn't it?
Very good, yes, sir. In fact, that's one category where Kyle Busch is not among the top 5. He has not had the same kind of success on the 1-mile tracks. All right. Let's drift back a little bit further because here's Clint Boyer. Remember when he got tangled up in that spin? He has moved his way back up to 7th. He is behind Hamlin, Harvick, Edwards, Bliss, Reagan, and Reed Sorensen. Vince, what's the latest?
Well, Clint says that he's wearing out the tires a little bit in traffic coming through, but he feels like the car is pretty good, as you can tell by the way he's been able to get back up through the field. You know, it's been a reunion of sorts for he and crew chief Dan Deeringhoff. They were partners last year as Clint won the Nationwide Series championship. Deeringhoff has not been in the Nationwide Series this year, but when Doug Randolph got promoted to the Cup side, Deeringhoff came back up to sit on the box of the 29. So these two are very familiar with one another. And Dan said earlier this morning, boy, I'd sure like to get a win for Clint here before the end of the season. Get another one as these two guys are back together. Very comfortable working with one another, and they were fortunate to avoid damage in that early incident, moving back up through the field nicely.
And just a couple of spots behind Clint Boyer, here comes Brad Keselowski all over the back bumper of the 66 of Stephen Wallace.
Yeah, Steve's had a great race here at the beginning in these first 56 laps. Hanging right into the top 10, but Brad Keselowski, who started a little further back, making his way up into the top 10, still has some work to do as far as trying to catch up with Carl in the points. Dave?
And Brad Keselowski has radioed the condition of his race car to his crew. Kind of interesting. Listen.
Right now, the car, I have to flat-foot it up off. If I try to roll into the throttle, I plow like hell late exit. It's weird how it drives like this. I can't throttle it at all. It's like driving with a light switch.
As if Pop Suri didn't really know what he was describing. He described it in a way all of us could understand. Light switch. Pedal on, pedal off. DJ, what's that feel like?
Well, I would say it's a different feel here because this is a racetrack, especially as you see him coming out of turn 4. That turns 3 and 4 is where you really want to be able to work the throttle to drive your car around that corner. But if you just happen to go wide open or off the throttle and let it roll, that'd be a different way of driving.
Yeah, that's no fun right there. It's kind of hard to fix, too. I mean, you're not going to just, fix that on a pit stop.
I remember Brad is fighting out Carl Edwards for 2nd place in the point standings. And let's show you the difference now as it is under 50 points between the two. But Brad's got a long way to go to catch up because he's a lot further back. He's right now running 8th. Edwards is 3rd on the racetrack. Remember back, it was in the spring race here. That's when Brad Keselowski finally got things turned around. Right now, he's chasing that man, as is everybody else. ESPN's Monday Night Football continues in the AFC North. It's the Ravens and the Browns. 8:30 Eastern. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown. It's served up by Applebee's starting at 7 o'clock Eastern. Back here at Phoenix International Raceway. We're working lap 65 at 200. Denny Hamlin has a 1.7-second lead over Kevin Harvick. You'll see Harvick just a little bit further back. And then we go a little deeper, and there is third place. Carl Edwards, 3.6 seconds behind the race leader. David Reagan is fourth. Mike Bliss rounds out your top five. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, what happened to the points leader, Kyle Busch? Well, he right now has worked his way back to 12th. And his problem started early in this race when he got loose. And he owes a big thank you to the 29 of Clint Bowyer, because if Bowyer gets into him and rams him into the wall, he might be out of this race. Instead, just some minor damage. They were able to stay on the lead lap. And right now, Kyle Busch, after falling back to 35th, has sliced and diced his way back in to 12th. We heard earlier from Kyle about the problems he's had. Let's check in with Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage. And how can they fix it, Tim?
The only way you're going to fix it, Marty, you can come in, raise the hood, and do it with the adjustment wrench here. But me, rather than raising that hood, I'm going to have the tire changer remove the left front tire, insert a ratchet. And what you're trying to do is run the bolt down. NASCAR will let you adjust this left front bolt, but you have to be raising the car. They will not let you let it down on a pit stop. That's the way I would do it to save a little time.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure out a way now to keep this, the front end of this race car from banging the racetrack. That's what Jason Radcliffe, the crew chief, thinks is really causing them some problems right now. And it was from some of this damage. The only way they could actually raise that up would be with those jack screws. The other way might be to go in there and try to work on that front valance, maybe cut it a little bit where they can get a little more clearance.
Well, while Kyle...
Boy, there is everything working against us today. Everything. I give him the outside, and he can't even go to the outside. I mean, it's just like there's nothing that's ever easy.
No, not everything's going bad. You do have a 204-point lead, and all you need is 195 when it's over.
Dave, you've got more on the 18?
I just want to throw one thing at Andy. Another thing they're contemplating, I don't know if they'll do it or not, but adjusting the cross weight to actually lift that left front out of the track a little bit. How much of that do you think they can get done with a wedge adjustment?
Yeah, they can do some of that, Dave. They can work on, there's three other jacking bolts on the car too, and if they can manipulate those in a way that would raise the car up a little, they could actually lower the right rear corner of the car, and that would raise the left front. It would definitely create some more clearance.
So we're getting ready for pit stops. In fact, the word is that there's the 27. Let's check in with John Reese.
Right side's done, going to the left. It's up. All the lug nuts are on. Get out of here, Holmes, go, baby. Woo!
Well, John gets us started here. That's the first one of the first cars to make green flag stops.
Now, Justin Allgaier, while this was going on, just got lapped by our race leader, Denny Hamlin. The significance, well, Allgaier is in 15th. Mike Bliss is 5th, and right now, Bliss has about a 27-point lead in hand over Allgaier in the battle for 5th place. Dave?
This is a race car that will not turn on this flat track, and when that doesn't happen, the driver is very, very frustrated. Justin's been complaining since the start of the race. Tight, tight, tight. It just won't turn.
So a problem for Justin Allgaier, and boy, the last 4 or 5 races, he has not had the kind of finishes. In fact, he's finished worse than he's qualified on all of them. Here comes Jason Leffler. We told you pit stops were coming. Leffler peels off as he was running in the 11th position. Jamie?
Well, this brand new race car isn't great for him so far. He said his entry is the biggest issue. He got extremely tight. That's why they pitted a little early. You see the ratchet in the back go down on the track bar there. Actually, they went up on the track bar. Air pressure adjustment. Fill it up with Sunoco fuel. 4 tires. Down and away. Spill a little bit of fuel on the exit, guys.
14.7 seconds on the pit stop. So Jason Leffler, who has nothing to gain or lose except he wants a win. He is solid in 4th. He can't get to 3rd. He can't fall back to 5th. So he's been focusing on the win. Denny Hamlin, your race leader. We're at lap 78 of the able-bodied Labor 200 here at Phoenix. And, oh, no, the 66, as our second caution comes out, they were in pit lane, came back out, and obviously the tire
decided to take a ride.
Obviously a miscommunication here with this caution flag flying right in the middle of their pit stop. They may have tried to get off the pit road without getting all the work done.
Left rear, guys.
So a bad break for Stephen Wallace because he was in pit lane when the second caution came out. It is for debris up in turn number 3. And it's gone from bad to worse. The tire may have a faster lap speed than the pace car this time. That is not what you want to see. Well, here he comes around, and that's how far it's going. Let's go back and take a look at the pit stop.
Get it up.
Yeah, you can see right here, Stephen comes in under green now. This caution had not come out. They're changing right sides, and the caution will come out while they're on the other side, right in the middle of this pit stop. See, making a chassis adjustment, having a little problem with the right front wheel there and lug nuts. And come around here, and the crew chief obviously called it just a 2-tire stop. Well, the guy on the left rear had already taken off the lug nuts while the guy on the right front was having problems.
When you talk about bad communications costing you, here it is. The tire comes off. They were running 10th. They were still on the lead lap when all this happens. So another difficult break for this team, as they had a good run going, but now find themselves in a heap of trouble. We have a total of 12 cars on the lead lap as the pace car is out in our second caution. Denny Hamlin, who has been leading 75 laps, and he has won 4 of the last 6 races where he has led 50 or more laps. So a good sign for Denny Hamlin.
It's a good sign. We have a lot of racing to do. These guys are going to be able to adjust on their cars now, see if they can make them better. Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards in particular.
Top 3 already pull off, and Jamie, I think you're going to be up first with the 33.
Well, Marty, remember it was last week in the pit stops that all went wrong for the 33 team. Right now he's saying he's tight and centered. They made an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires. Brian Bottlemy, the rear changer, first time making his first pit stop here with Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Let's see if it makes a difference and this team gets back on it. They have a great race car, one that Kevin thinks is capable of winning. A little slow, he's down and away, 14.8, Shannon.
Tight in the center for Carl Edwards. Wedge in air pressure, 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Vince.
Denny Hamlin, the leader, is in the pits. He's taking on 4 tires, says the car's a little tight in the center. That's his only complaint. They make an air pressure adjustment. Dave.
Vince, just as Tim Brewer suggested, they're going inside the left front of the 18 car. They're not going to go to the wedge bolt, though. Front tire changer Nick Odell is making a shock adjustment in addition to helping pull out that fender there. By adjusting the shock, they hope to lift that left front up. You can see the front fascia is curled under just a little bit. That's what they're trying to pull out now to give it as much up out of the track as they can get. But that shock was the thing they went underneath the left front tire for.
Yeah, they just have a lot of damage here. This is going to be one of those races where you're just going to have to keep working on it, see if you can get it better and better. But the big picture is what they need to focus on right now.
Yeah, with not a lot of cars on the lead lap, they could take their time and make some more adjustments on that car.
And take a look at the race off, and here it is as Denny Hamlin, of course, gets there. And there's Carl Edwards now in second, Kevin Harvick third. So a good pit stop, but the 60 was a little bit better than the 33. Stay with us. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards will be the front 2. Here are the waiver rounds. The 27 of Keller, the 34 of Raines, 26 of Conway, the 98 of Menard, the 10 of Ruderman, the 38 of Leffler, and Justin Allgaier was your lucky dog. So a very big move for him. He's back on the lead lap, shown in 13th position. Green flag flies. We're back racing here at Phoenix. Here comes Harvick following the 20 right through turns 1 and 2. But Edwards still able to hold that outside line.
He makes a nice run off of 2. He's still trying to work that high side. He took the lead from there on the last restart.
Behind those 3, it's David Reagan. Mike Bliss still running in the top 5 as you ride along with Kevin Harvick. Brad Keselowski has fought his way back up to 6th. And then it is Clint Bowyer in 7th. And remember, Bowyer was part of that early spin involving Kyle Busch.
Yeah, another car that I'm looking at there, the 99 car. Trevor Bayne started 37th in this race. Had a great run during all of that green flag racing. Got himself up in the top 10 right now. You see him battling with Matt Kenseth.
Showing a lot of poise for 18 years of age. Now going underneath the 32 of Reed Sorensen. They're going to go side by side. Sorensen carries the momentum.
Yeah, look here. Clint Boyer trying 3 wide, getting into one.
This is going to get interesting. Something's got to give. And Reagan backs out of it wisely, saying, fellas, I'm the meat in this sandwich.
Man,
I don't like it.
That was a power move for Clint Boyer.
I'll tell you what, Boyer has really come back, and here's Bliss. They're side by side. They're duking it out for position.
That's
Boyer.
a great crossover move you can use if you get passed up there. Drive back to the inside. See if Mike Bliss can make that work as he battles with Clint Boyer.
That is the battle for 5th and 6th now, as Keselowski has moved ahead of these guys into 4th. So all of a sudden, Brad Keselowski, I mean, I saw him yesterday first practice, and he says, man, we tried some things. It was wrong, and they were basically starting all over, and they were playing catch-up the rest of the weekend. But all of a sudden, they've got it dialed.
And it's 29 and 11, still going at it hard.
They're both trying to track down Keselowski, and right now it is Boyer. Whoa, you saw him working that steering wheel, and he's got the spot. So Boyer now back to 5th, and Bliss in 6th.
What makes this racetrack so much fun as a driver, you can just wheel that thing around here, not any grip on the bottom or the top. You just drive the heck out of it and see if you can come out in front of the guy you're racing.
How about on board with James Busher?
Yeah, James Busher doing a good job, too, staying on the lead lap during that long run. Now he's battling with Matt Kenseth, one of the best in the business here.
And, of course, right in front of those two is Trevor Bayne, as we get more from Shannon Spake.
3 wins for that 16 team this season. One of those came right here at Phoenix in April. Of course, Greg Biffle was behind the wheel of the car, not Matt Kenseth. Matt has been complaining about no grip from the drop of the green flag today, guys. They tried to fix him up. They got him an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment. And right now, as you see, Matt Kenseth getting a little squirrely out there as the one car goes down low. Dave?
Shannon, when leader Denny Hamlin showed up in James Busher's mirror, his spotter told him, you have to go now. And James Busher, even though he had a very loose race car, stepped it up and stayed on the lead lap. During that pit stop, they made a track bar and air pressure adjustment because the car was a little bit tight rolling the center, but mostly loose for Busher.
All right, thanks, Dave. Let's update you on 2 other cars. Josh Wise is behind the wall right now, not listed as out, just off. 33. Trouble for the 12 of Justin Allgaier. He had just gotten back on the lead lap with the lucky dog, and now he's got a flag.
That's going to create a caution.
Yeah, that's going to bring a caution out.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
So our 3rd caution comes out here on lap 91. He was running 14th on the lead lap, and he is seeing his dream of finishing in the top 5 fading away quickly.
He got a break right there. He still may go down a lap. We're going to try to get on pit road and get off and get this tire replaced. But it looks like him and Jason Leffler got together just a little bit, and what caused this flat tire.
Oh, there it is.
Maybe more than a little bit.
Yeah. That's just Phoenix racing, close, short track racing. Those things are going to happen. Just hope that it doesn't knock out that valve stem or get into the sidewall and cut a hole.
Yeah, Justin did go a lap down trying to get that left side tire replaced.
The lucky dog this time. Let's go on board first.
Not so lucky that time.
No. And then as he's coming around, there's the tire shredding and coming off that brings out the caution.
The tread rubber off the tire just finally gives up and comes off the wheel.
Well, this time the lucky dog will be 2002 Phoenix winner, Scott Wimmer. And so we've just had a round of pit stops just 11 laps ago. So, crew chief, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'd love to have tires, but I don't want to waste them right here, nor do I want to give up track position. So you see all these leaders going to stay out. There's not that many cars on the lead lap. We're looking at 13, 14 cars on the lead lap. Yep, and here comes Kyle Busch. He'll take this opportunity to keep working on that car.
He comes in 12th position, and
we have
Leffler
nothing to lose here, okay?
13.
We're just racing the pace car. We're going to do 4 tires, and we're going to look at this left front again, okay?
So here we go, and we'll watch what happens on the 18.
And right rear. Work on the right rear. Turn 2.
And they're also working, you see right there on that right front where he had contact with Justin Allgaier. They're fixing that, but he was one of the wave around cars on the last caution. He had made a green flag stop, got down a lap. Still working on this 18. See, working on that right rear corner.
You heard him talk about
there you go, Brad,
right
just
rear.
like that. If it would stay.
They'd love to get that right rear corner shaped better. because that you rely on that part of the car for aerodynamic side force, and that really helps the car have more stability through the corners and it's worth speed to get that thing fixed right.
You heard him say 5 seconds. That's because the pace car's coming out of turn number 4. It's on the front straightaway. They get him down. He's going to stay on the lead lap. All right, we've got 14 cars on the lead lap, led by Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, and Brad Keselowski. Justin Allgaier is now back a lap down in 23rd position. Mike Bliss is in 6th.
Watch this, though. Denny Hamlin just chose the outside lane on this restart. Let's see how it works for him.
Denny has led 90 of the 94 laps run right here, and we're back to green flag racing.
Carl Edwards gets a good start now. It's down in there even with Denny.
I think this was an experiment for Denny, just to see for later in the race if we get in this situation again.
I don't think he likes it, because here comes Harvick.
How'd it work out?
Well, that's what he needs to know, you know?
He's still digging out there, but looks like Carl Edwards going to get the advantage now.
You notice how the front hood on the 33, when they get going down that backstretch, it's so light, it's just collapsing down. I'm wondering if that's an aerodynamic advantage for him.
I'm not sure it's an advantage. I think it's just a sign of how the car, they build this thing as light as possible, keeping as many braces. Oh, man, look at Denny Hamlin get sideways on the bottom.
And that's going to open the door for Harvick, and he ducks underneath him, heading into 3. So the slip-up may cost Hamlin. That's the first time he's been this far back if it happens. And here comes the 88, and along with the 29.
Oh, so they're pouncing on Hamlin now. They think he's vulnerable right after this restart.
They are, but that car is so strong, he can still pull him off the corner on the high side.
Oh, big crash. Menard is involved. It looks also like the 61 of Jason Bowles, who is making his debut in the series, is involved.
And Menard's got a lot of damage.
These cars were both vehicles that were at least 1 lap down. That is Paul Menard, window net down. That's the best news.
Yeah, they are. They're going to bring him down pit road now because this is such a big mess on the straightaway. A lot of debris in cars.
Jason Bowles, Camping World West champion. They were running for 22nd position. As we said, that was a lap down.
Man, I'll tell you, Menard's car is destroyed.
Well, the 61 doesn't look all that much better.
I think Menard got turned into the wall, and then he got hit by the 61 after that. So he took 2 pretty hard licks.
Okay, so they're going to bring everybody down pit road, and that will avoid all the debris that is scattered from the exit of turn 4 down the front straightaway. And there you see the safety crew on hand helping Paul get out of the car. Pit lane is closed. No one will be able to make a pit stop.
Yeah, we've got the pace car actually chasing the field down pit road to try to get in front of Carl Edwards, the leader.
And there's your first look at Jason.
There's Paul, too. I'm glad to see Paul get out of that car okay.
Big hit, especially for Paul. He'll be racing tomorrow, of course, one of our 14 drivers doing double duty. All right, let's go back. And this is about a lap earlier. Watch the 98 has a little contact with Mike Wallace. Now the question everybody's wondering is, did he have a cut tire because of that? Because here's the next lap.
He was just got down on the apron with the left front, got him really loose, gets him up into the wall, and then the 61 nowhere to go.
And everybody else luckily misses it. Here's another view. Boy, Jason Keller just escapes.
You can see here, hits the wall, and the 61 hits him just at the same time. And you see the 24 car also getting involved.
Yeah, Eric McClure also, and did not see that at the very instant that it happened, but you can see the damage that he had on his car. And there is the damage on the 24. Ooh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's pretty serious too. He's going to have to work on that thing. He got a lot of damage on it.
Well, because of this 4th caution, the lucky dog will go to Stephen Wallace, so he will get back on the lead lap. That will give us 15 cars on the lead lap, and they're going to stop them on the backstretch. So we're going to go to a red flag situation. There is Stephen.
Yeah, you see everybody coming down pit road. Now, technically, the pit road is closed. No work is allowed, so they're just going to pass through here and then park them on the back straightaway while they clean this big mess up.
So a very tough break for Paul Menard and Jason Bowles. You know, Menard had won a NASCAR Elite Division race here in November of 2002. He was a co-driver for a Rolex GT class that won here in April of 2002. and 2. So there is the mess that we still have to clean up here. Our 4th caution of the day. Here's another view of it down low. Get ready. It's going to hurt. Another view as we head to commercial break. Stay with us. We're under a red flag situation here at Phoenix.
One lap shy of halfway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series field parked along the back straightaway under the red flag here at Phoenix International Raceway after a crash off of turn number 4 littered the front straightaway with debris. Since we're at the midway point, let's take a look at our Verizon Wireless race rundown and update you on what's happened in the first portion of this event. After last Sunday's events with Jimmy Johnson in Texas, how about Kyle Busch getting in trouble?
Oh, Kyle just loses it all by himself off of 2, slides through the grass, boom, hits the wall right there, bends up the left front fender. The guys are working on it right now, and they got the car running pretty good.
Championship leader in trouble just 7 laps into the race, but then he got some repairs and started moving.
He did a great job. Came right back into this race and put himself, as far up as 12th throughout the race. So he's done a good job protecting his points lead. As we sit right now, though, he's 181 back. Still got some work to do.
Denny Hamlin has been the dominant driver so far. He's led 91 of the 99 laps that have been run after starting on the pole, but he slipped back a little bit lately, Ray.
Yeah, you got to give him a little bit of credit. Look, he took the outside on the restart to see what was going to be for later in the race. Dropped him back. He's in traffic right now. They didn't really get enough time for him to get back up there. I expect him to get back up front, and he'll probably choose the inside on the next restart.
Hamlin sitting in second on the restart, and the great battle for Rookie of the Year took a little twist when Justin Allgaier had trouble while running in 12th spot.
Yeah, you see Jason Leffler and Justin Allgaier to get together right there, blew out Jason's left rear tire. You see it come off right there. He almost spun the car out, did a good job, but he's took a hit in the points right now. We're only halfway through the event. He might get this lap back, through the lucky dog thing. If he can perform good enough, then he'll be back in the game.
Allgaier running in 19th position now. Brendan Gaughan, the guy he's racing for Rookie of the Year, is not having a stellar race. He's only in 16th, so we'll see how that plays out. Remember, your top 16 finishes on the year are what count for Rookie of the Year. From the pit studio outside of turn number 2, where all those cars are parked just about behind us with Rusty, Brad, and Ray. What's it like being in one of those race cars sitting under a red flag when you've been going, and now you're waiting?
Well, it's time for you to breathe a little bit and think about what can I do to make my car handle better if it's not really working good, I'd be talking to my crew chief, which would probably be a guy like Ray Everham over there, who's a whiz at fixing these cars. Ray, and I'd be saying, hey, man, the thing is loose, it's tight, let's change this, let's try that. A lot of conversation going on how to get my car better. That's what's so good about a red flag condition. Allows a driver to think and talk to his crew chief.
One of the interesting things right now, though, is we only have 100 laps left on a mile racetrack. This is like an old Saturday night short track race. These 100 laps are going to go very quickly, so any adjustments you have at this point in time need to be good because you may not get another chance to touch that hot rod.
And they've got to be careful on these red flags because sometimes if you don't shut these cars off properly and put enough fuel in them, the way the engine shuts off and cools down, it could do some damage to the valve. So we're liable to see some engine problems after this restart.
Now, that's an interesting thought. Watching Carl Edwards sit in the office, a little bit more quiet and stoic than he'd like to be right now. He is our in-race reporter today. I guess he's happy, DJ, that he's at the head of the line, but probably not happy that he's on a little coffee break, huh?
Yeah, probably not, but let's talk to him and see. Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Hey, Jason. Either top or bottom, really. You get good restarts, so wherever you're the most comfortable. That was the best restart, visually, to me. You beat him by 2 car lengths.
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
All right, well, we had a camera on you. We could see your eyes are open. You're not taking a nap. So how's your race car, bud?
The race car's pretty good. You on this camera right here?
That's the one, yep.
It's kind of wild having that thing right in my face. I don't know if you guys can see the Valvoline on there, but I hope so. We got a pretty good race car. We were just debating whether to start on the top or the bottom. I think I'm going to start on the bottom again. That seemed to work out pretty well, but, we got 100 laps to go, and car's running well, and, a couple cars here are all about the same speed, so it's going to be a pretty good race.
Did that surprise you a little bit that Denny chose that outside on the last restart?
It didn't surprise me. I think that if I was in his position and been controlling this race, I probably would have done the same thing just to see what it does. But I think the inside's better. I think it is. That's the first time we get in front of him. So I'm glad he chose it. But now we know. So it might have been better to have him choose it later in the race. So we'll see what happens.
So your plan is just to stay in front where he doesn't have that choice. It's all yours from here on, huh?
Yeah, that's my plan. That's always the plan.
All right, man. We see the Valvoline there. Have a good race. Thanks for talking.
All right. Thanks, Dale.
All right, so Carl, who, as we pointed out, has 6 wins in 30 starts on the 1-mile tracks. Mark Martin is the all-time leader in this series, 12 times in 40 starts on the 1-mile, and that brings up the Old Boys Club, and you happen to talk to Harry Gant, who never won at this track in either Nationwide or Sprint Cup.
That's hard to believe because Harry was so good at this type of racing. He was 54 years old when he won his last Nationwide Series race. I wonder what he's doing today.
Probably, what do you think? Watching the race? Does he watch our races?
I bet he's kicked up watching this.
You're going to get another text or phone call here. Let's check in with Jamie. She has caught up with Paul Menard.
Yes, and that, of course, is the reason why there is a red flag condition right now. Paul, hard hit with the rookie out there. What happened?
I think I just lost it. I'm not totally sure. The 01 and I got together the lap before, so I may have had a tire going down, but I think I just flat lost it. Clipped the apron and it turned on me. You know, it was a really fast car in practice. We qualified pretty well with it. Start of the race, I thought we were going to be okay. Then it just got too tight, and we kind of short pitted. And of course, the caution came out, so it stuck us a couple laps down. But you know, made some good changes at the pit stop, and I thought the car's back to the top 10 caliber car, and just ran out of room there, I guess.
All right, Paul, glad to see that you're okay, and Paul Menard will be back in the car next week at Homestead. Marty?
And he'll be starting 41st tomorrow in the Sprint Cup race right here at Phoenix International Raceway. There's what's left of the car back in the garage area. We're coming back at the halfway mark. Under a red flag here at Phoenix International Raceway, just at the halfway mark of this race. Denny Hamlin has run and led 91 of those laps so far. He's going to be celebrating his 29th birthday next Wednesday. Like to give himself an early present with a victory here. And Vince, what's the latest on the 20?
Well, they've been having a little bit of a battery issue. They've switched back and forth a couple of times between the batteries, inconsistent readings on the voltage meter in the car, and crew chief Doug Hewitt reminded Denny to turn off his fans during this red flag to save on the batteries. And maybe for better explanation, let's check in with Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim?
Thanks, Vince. Like Rusty was talking a while ago, it gives the drivers an opportunity to talk to the crew chief. This situation, the guys have 2 batteries on board, sits right in front of the left rear wheel. But how's he change it? He can actually go to the switch right here. You got battery A, or you can flip to battery B. But how you monitor that is with a voltage gauge right here. By checking both batteries, you find out how much power you have in each one of them, so you can select the one you want to finish the race on. Dave?
Hey, Brewer, been down here in the 18 pit watching them huddle off of the pit box. It's been about 12 minutes in this red flag now. That is an eternity in racing and a good amount of time for a group that has a problem to talk about it. Kyle Busch has said, my car went straight on that last restart. Why? He began to offer explanations. The crew has been talking about perhaps why. They're not exactly sure. They may come down and change the fresh set of tires they just put on the car to make sure it's okay. But this luxury right now of 12 minutes and counting is big for the 18 team as they try to get him back in the race and hopefully clinch this championship.
So there you see the damage on the 18 of Kyle Busch. And right now, Kyle shown in 13th position. And it is not enough, as it stands right now, for him to put a lock on his first ever NASCAR Series championship. The magic number is 195. You see there, it is 181. Talk about Brad Keselowski a little bit when we come back here to Phoenix. Well, as you can see back here at Phoenix International Raceway, we have gone to a yellow condition after our red flag, and some of these cars are taking advantage, including Brad Keselowski. As Kes, this was the track where he turned things around in the spring. Remember, he had the dismal start to his season, which really cost him his championship, and then he started this run here where he finished 3rd back in April. And they are going for 4 fresh tires, as is the 18 of Kyle Busch. And we saw one of his crew members as they're finishing up this job during the red flag with binoculars over on the far side of the track.
Yeah, we saw Kyle Busch position his car so that crew member could look at the damage, and then they could start getting a plan together on how they could best fix it. And they've done that. Now they're applying these repairs, trying to get this car better. Now, I wouldn't count Kyle Busch out of this thing at all. I mean, they haven't even given up on trying to win this race.
No, I'm not sure that he ever had the car to win the race from the start today. It looked like they were going to struggle a little bit, but they can certainly fix this good enough to get them inside the top 10, which will probably be good enough to clinch the championship for them.
Yeah, they want to get it fixed up at least pretty nice, because they're going to have to take a lot of pictures when the race is over.
So as they continue the work, let's update you on a couple others. Jeremy Clements is off behind the wall, and Kevin Butler is also off, and Josh Wise has pulled out of the race. Let's talk about what's coming up here on the calendar. NASCAR Sprint Cup at Phoenix, presented by Goodyear. It's tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern, over on ABC. And then it's NHRA qualifying tonight, 10:30 Eastern. And then the finals. Champions will be crowned in all 4 categories. Final race of the year, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. NASCAR Now, all you got to remember is 10 and 10, AM and PM on ESPN2. And then our final race on the Nationwide Series, the Ford 300, Homestead, Miami, 4 Eastern next Saturday on ESPN2. Our red flag was 13 minutes and 18 seconds. When we come back, we're going green. Don't forget, ABC Saturday Night Football. It is Notre Dame in a must-win game against the Pitt Panthers. They're rated number 12 in the country. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Some parts of the nation will get the Texas Tech, Oklahoma State contest. Back here, we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. We have a total of 15 cars on the lead lap here at Phoenix in the next to last race on the 2009 Nationwide Series schedule. It will be Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin in the front row, then Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, Mike Bliss, Jason Leffler. That's your top 6. And we're hearing word that maybe the 29 of Boyer might have a problem. We're looking a little bit deeper into that. We'll get a report from pit lane as the pace car gets ready to pull off. As we mentioned, 15 cars on the lead lap. Carl Edwards slows them down, and now the green flag flies, and there he goes.
Good restart. It's been really easy after these cars have been sitting, picking up some rubber. The tires have cooled off too. Been really easy to spin your tires right there. And you see Denny Hamlin needing some rear grip off of turn 2.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick takes advantage of that too and gets that second spot.
Down into turn number 3. There is Boyer. If he's got a problem, it's not rearing its ugly head right now because he's putting pressure on Hamlin.
He's looking on the outside of Denny Hamlin now off turn 4.
That is a lot of the track dry that you see getting kicked up by the guys coming across start-finish line.
Yeah, I think the problem they're talking about is a possible hole in the header, and that'll just make sometimes a backfiring sound as you go into the corners, you let off the gas. Shouldn't create really a problem throughout the day. It's not that long of a race, so it shouldn't be anything that would affect him either.
Guys, remember when I said Carl slowed him down coming to the green? NASCAR said, you slowed him down too much. They've warned him. Next time.
Yeah, they frown on that now. They want you to hold a constant speed when you come down to get the green flag. No, like what they call brake checking or slowing down right before you go, which would bottle up everybody behind you and give you an advantage. That's why they warned him.
Mike Bliss, remember when he was running up as high as 4th? Right now, he is falling back as he has dropped to 10th. Kenseth got around him, and here comes Kyle Busch on the high side, and James Buescher may give him a handful as well. Now Bliss will be switching back to the number 1 car. Remember, it was the one ride that he rode in most of the season, then got abruptly canned. I asked him about that. I said, why are you doing this? He said, well, 1, I have a lot of friends on that team. He said, 2, it is a good car. And 3, I've got something to prove. So he'll be in the 1 next week.
Well, that'll be interesting. He's in the 11 right now. He had been up there in the top 5 for most of the time. Could see the 1 car, James Buescher, really sideways as he came out of turn 2 that last time.
Buescher, the 8th different driver in that number 1 car this year. He'll be in that ride all year long next year. We move back forward a little bit. There's Reed Sorensen in the 32 with David Reagan right underneath him in the 6, and there is Keselowski looking for both of them to get the heck out of the way.
Yeah, look at his 18 car now. He's back in the mix and trying to pass Matt Kenseth on the outside. I think they've got this car fixed a lot better.
Whatever that little adjustment during the pit stop after the red flag situation, it has paid dividends. Let's get an update on David Reagan. Shannon?
David Reagan on 4 fresh tires came down pit road lap 100. The car was tight, so they made a wedge adjustment and also added some fuel. But the most important thing is you see him going to the inside of that 32 is those 4 fresh tires. Dave?
Yeah, Shannon, now where does Brad Keselowski go? He's going to choose, he's going to stay with the 32 for right now. On the outside line there, Brad said, you got my car turning better, Pops, about 70% of the way there, but I need the other 30%. So they came down on that last caution, put 4 tires on, made an air pressure adjustment as he continues to hang on the outside.
And for a moment there, you could see 6th through 12th. There they are, pretty much in a group, and some great racing going on in this middle pack.
You can see Kyle Busch has made his way up into the mix here. He was trying the outside. Now he's going to the inside of Brad Keselowski. He's also just looking for somewhere to go, but the 6 and 32.
And just in case you're interested, right now, the point margin is 195, where Kyle is running in 9th position and Carl leading the race. And that is the magic number.
Reed Sorensen really hanging tough on the outside. David Reagan's doing everything he can to make that pass.
Well, Reed Sorensen, a guy who's looking for a job next year. Right now, there's no guarantee that he's got anything, lined up at this stage. So he's trying to impress some people, make a good impression, and get himself a ride. Boy, Brad Keselowski coming back also. He is now running in 7th position. And remember, he was 17th. Now let's check in on the 11 car with the 16. Underneath is Mike Bliss. Kenseth on the high side. They are side by side coming through 3 and 4. Bliss trying to fight his way back towards the front. That is for 10th position, and right now he's got it. Reagan and Kyle Busch side by side here in this 1 mile oval, as we are working lap 114 of 200, and now Busch clears the 6 of Reagan. So he has moved into 8th position, and there you see Bliss 10th. And we talk about the 5th and final place on the podium for the Nationwide Series Champions Award ceremony. Well, right now, the 11 driver, Mike Bliss, would have that spot, but only 15 points is Justin Allgaier, and Allgaier is a lap down in 19th position right now. Now, Bliss has only finished in the top 5 in the final points twice in his career. Back in 04 and in 08, and both times he was 5th in the championship chase. That's the view from Justin Allgaier. That's the battle for the Rookie of the Year championship, because he and Brendan Gaughan going tooth and nail at it. That was for 18th and 19th. Let's check back up front, where you've got Carl Edwards leading by 2 seconds over Kevin Harvick. So Carl has got this car dialed in, guys.
Yeah, he's got that clean air out front, too. He fought hard to get that. He passed that 20 car when Denny Hamlin chose the outside on a restart, got the lead, and then has been able to maintain it.
There's Clint Boyer, as you could see, started 5th. Fell back after the spin, and now running forward. What's the latest on this car? We heard we might have a problem here. Do they have a problem, Vince?
Well, in Boyers, you see a good battle on the track there between Keselowski and Reed Sorensen, but Clint Boyer, when he had tangled with Kyle Busch and gotten involved in that incident, they thought when he ran over the curb, maybe he had done some header damage. He felt that that was the case, but in talking with the crew, they think, in fact, that maybe instead he got a hole in the tailpipe, and that's given him a little bit of a feeling that it's the header issue. He said he just doesn't feel like he has the power coming off the 4th turn that he would like. Still a pretty good run as Boyer's in the top 5, and a good recovery after that incident with Kyle Busch early.
Well, tell him this. He's only 1/10 of a second off of the leader's pace last lap.
Well, that's what he's saying. He needs that 10. He needs that power. And that's the thing about a hole in a header or exhaust pipe won't cost you a ton of power, but it will cost you, 10, maybe 15 horsepower, depending on where it is. So that could be enough that he could feel that and knows that's a problem.
Kyle Busch has worked his way up to the 8th position, and he is in control of his own destiny again after a momentary scare early in this race when he spun it and just nudged the wall. But the team has fought back, and they are in the championship hunt.
77 laps to go in this afternoon's NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Phoenix International Raceway. You're looking at the leader, Carl Edwards, trying to keep from being closed out for the Nationwide Series Championship. 2nd in points starting the day. Needed to get underneath of 195 5 points behind Kyle Busch to have any kind of shot going to the finale next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Right now, Kyle Busch, after a lap 7 spin, has recovered to the point that he's running 8th in this race. He's made numerous pit stops to repair that back end of and the front end of that Toyota. And again, he's come back up to run 8th at this point, in position to claim the championship trophy as they run, but we've still got 76 laps to go. But watching a lot of the work going on that 18 car, Ray Abraham's been keeping a careful eye on things. What are you seeing that they've been doing to this car?
Well, it's what you're not seeing. What they did on a pit stop right after the red flag was work on the bottom of that car. And the brake ducts and brake pans are very sensitive. You see them putting tape up onto the bottom there? They probably put the brake duct back in place. These cars, again, are very sensitive because that brake pan is so big, it actually acts like an aerodynamic device under that car. So they made those repairs, taped it up, and it seems like the car is turning better for him. It's allowed him to move up several positions. And right now, he's got a 199-point lead on Carl Edwards.
And right now, I think Kyle, behind the wheel of that car, is more thinking about winning this race again. Listen.
It all of a sudden went from loose to tight. I don't know what's going on, man. I am so lost. Yeah. We're just going to have to get a good pit stop here. You guys are going to have to give me some track position.
He said, you're going to have to get me some track position.
Well, you know, he says he's lost with the car a little bit, but what he doesn't know is how bad the left front corner of this car is tore up. As a driver, you're looking out the front, you see in the hood, you don't see a lot of damage because you can't see the bottom of the left front corner. He's got right rear damage that's really affecting the car, and he's got left front damage. He's just going to have to drive the wheels off it and do what he's got with what he's got to work with, and that's about it.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, Rusty. He was talking about the race car taking off through the corner, and you brought up a good point. It's probably the body of that race car actually touching the racetrack and creating that glide sled type feel for him. But I tell you, he's not doing too bad. He's running 8th right now with a good chance to get a top 5 finish.
And looking for track position despite a car that he doesn't like the way that it's driving.
And running very competitive lap times if you look at the monitor.
Yeah. Pretty good race for 3rd and 4th. Denny Hamlin in the 20, Clint Boyer on the 29. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's get you up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and update you on how all these front runners are thinking about their cars with another set of pit stops coming up. We start with the front runner and Shannon.
Alan, someone that's loving that track position right now is that 60 car of Carl Edwards. He says the car is great. He is chattering just a little bit. The nose is chattering just a little bit through the turns. Told Mike Kelly to start thinking about ways that they can fix it on the next pit stop. Carl Edwards knows that the 18 team is likely going to run away with this championship, but he said his goal for today is to get some points on the 88 of Keselowski so that he can go into Homestead and have a little more confidence and work on some things for next year. Jamie?
Well, the great weekend continues for Kevin Harvick. After winning the truck race last night, his driver, Ron Hornaday, locked up the Drivers' Championship, and it continues here. This brand new race car is really been a rocket today on that restart. You saw him power through. He gained a position. Beside being a little loose, car is good. Vince?
Denny Hamlin running 3rd, fought a little bit tight in the center in that last run. The car's pretty good here on this stint. You know, when Dave Rogers left to be Kyle Busch's Cup crew chief, he also took engineer and shockman Ron Denton with him. So it was like losing 3 people off this 20 team. A lot of guys being asked to step up. Fortunately, Joe Gibbs Racing has the depth of quality of people to do it. They've made that transition a lot more seamless than other teams, that's for sure. So another good run for the 20 team today. The 29 of Clint Boyer also having a good run, and should give a shout out to crew chief Dan Deringhoff. You know, he started the season on this 29. There's a good look at Dan on the right-hand side. Then he went off to work with RCR's young driver Austin Dillon, asked to come back to be on the 29 box, working with Clint Boyer again. They always seem to work well, especially here. And Clint, he's won here before, having another good run today. Jamie?
And Jason Leffler escaped what could have been a big one earlier, but no damage, and the car remains good. He brought a brand new race car here. They're trying something new as well, but he said this car acted so differently to any changes we made. They were scrambling in first practice. Second practice, though, they said, we think we have a great car. He's worked his way up to 5th. The car is pretty good. He, too, is a little bit loose. Dave?
Brad Keselowski restarted 7th, so he's picking up spots now, chasing down Leffler. Hasn't said anything on the radio since they made that air pressure adjustment on the car. Top Fury told me this morning that they were so confident about how hard they worked on the car yesterday that they didn't make any overnight changes, and that car has run pretty well for Brad today. Vince?
Reed Sorensen is in the 32 car for the second time this season. He finished second at Gateway in his other appearance in this car. And I would look for an announcement in the next couple of weeks indicating that he'll be in this car a lot more often next season. This car, as far as it handling today, they made it a little bit more free in, and it didn't help on the exit. This is a car that has been real good throughout the course of the day, but they just quite haven't found the sweet spot yet. Shannon?
Vince, David Reagan in that 6 car, currently running 8th on the racetrack, has been on quite a streak in the Nationwide Series. He has 6 straight top 10 finishes. That 6 car's been a little bit tight all day for the driver, and this is the last race that David Reagan will be in this car in 2009. Eric Darnell will be taking over next week at Homestead, so you know David Reagan wants to get a good finish for this team here today. Dave?
There's no question, Shannon, that today the 18 bunch wanted to wrap up this championship if they could. Jason Ratcliffe told me this morning, though, they wanted to clinch by winning. That's going to be a little bit tough to do, especially as you got a good look at the left front of the car there. They just chuckled on the radio about Kyle saying, you know, my arrow might be a little off. And Jason Ratcliffe said, from where I'm sitting, buddy, I'd say you're right. Marty?
All right, thank you, guys. Great update. Right behind him there is Matt Kenseth in 10th. Then it is Mike Bliss, James Buescher, Trevor Bayne, Stephen Wallace, Scott Wimmer. That's the 15 cars that are on the lead lap. We also have 15 cars behind the wall out of this race. So the field right now of 28 working on lap number 138 of 200. There's the top 5. Carl Edwards trying to make it 7 out of 31 wins on the mile tracks.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Phoenix is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And Verizon Wireless. Verizon customers, text JSKI to 4ESPN to submit a question to NASCAR Insider JSKI. Standard text messaging rates apply.
Well, a beautiful view from high on the hillside there, and Carl Edwards is chopping up this field right now as he has a 4.8-second lead over Kevin Harvick. There's only been 2 leaders in this race. Denny Hamlin has 91 laps led. Edwards now with 51 and counting. And notice it's 191 markers between Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. The magic number is 195. Carl's doing everything he can, guys. He can't go any farther forward.
Yep, that's all you can do is just try to lead every lap, win the race, and then just look up at the end of the day and see where you stack up.
Yeah, Kyle Busch has dropped back a little bit. He's back into the 10th spot now. See a battle here with Brad Keselowski and Jason Leffler.
That is for 5th. Leffler's got the spot. Keselowski has reeled him in over the last few laps. We should point out that during the break, it was Clint Boyer getting around Denny Hamlin to take over 3rd position. So yeah. Boyer had been working on him.
Yeah, and if you look just ahead of this group, you'll see that 20 car. He's not nearly as good this run as he was early in the race. Don't know what kind of issues he's fighting right now.
Keselowski on the high side, and here comes Leffler. We had one more round of pit stops to go, and it looks like Leffler's going to be the first to bring it in to pit road. So with 56 laps remaining, he makes his final pit stop. Jamie? Oh, he's got a problem. This is a lot worse.
Yeah, he just was complaining on the radio saying, I'm losing my brakes, guys, and I went and checked it out, and he said that he's not tough on his brakes at all, but you see he has an oil leaking, a line actually, oil leaking out that caused him to lose the brakes. You see him checking it out right there. Tough break for the 38, guys. We just reported what a great job he did recovering from almost a devastating run earlier on, but we'll get more on this, and I'll get back to you, Marty.
Yeah, I was watching the pit stop earlier, and they had a ton of brake dust coming off of that wheel. He has really been heavy on this brake wear. Watch this. You'll see right here when he takes this wheel off, you see all the brake dust fly out from the inside. When that pad wears completely out, which is what happened there, it'll actually let the pucks and the caliper come out, and all the brake fluid was getting on that hot rotor, and that's why you saw that fire all up inside that wheel well there. If we go down to our Craftsman Tech Garage, Tim Brewer might shed a little more light on it.
Thanks, Andy. Look at these enormous rotors right here. You know, this is 1 5/8 inches, but still yet look at this brake pad. You got a lot of area right here for a lot of friction. But back over here, you got a transfer line right here that might have broken. But more than likely, like Andy says, this is the O-ring. When the heat transfers through the piston, gets to this O-ring, if you melt them out of there, that's when you're going to have all the fluid run out, and that's where the fire is going to erupt.
Jason has scored 2 USAC wins at this track at Phoenix, and he's still looking for that first win this season in the Nationwide Series. But unfortunately, about the only thing they're going to be able to do with that car with the fire and the brake well is cook marshmallows.
Yeah, they would be able to change that caliper and get back out there, but they're going to have to get up on jack stands and get the wheel off of it, get the rotor and everything off.
It's unfortunate. He was having a great run. He had some contact early in the race. We saw him having to come in and beat that right front fender back out, but he'd gotten himself back up into the top 5.
Get your collar off so we can get the brake fluid back in this thing.
You heard him talk about getting more fluid back into it. Carl Edwards right now, he still has a chance to lead the most laps in this race. It would change the championship scenario, because if he does and goes on to win the race, well, then now Kyle would have to move up to 7th to clinch the championship. Kyle running 9th right now. So Carl doing everything he possibly can. That's Michael Annett right in front of him. Annett is 2 laps down in 21st. You want to see what 5.6 seconds looks like at the 1-mile track here at Phoenix? There they are, way back. And there is Kyle Busch. That's the difference from 1st to 9th, which is 12.8 seconds behind the race leader. 50 laps to go here in the land of sun. Well, we're back here under our 5th caution now for debris in the turn 3 at the Able Body Labor 200 at Phoenix International Raceway. And saw a little bit of debris out on the track. Also between turns 2 and 3. And it is time for the money stop. This will be the last pit stop for everybody. Jamie, you're up first.
Kevin Harvick would love to get his 8th win here at Phoenix today. Car has been great. Just a tad loose, so they are going up on air pressure on the right sides. 4 tires, fill it up with Sunoco, Dave.
Brad Keselowski skids to a smoky stop. That'll be a 4-tire change and air pressure adjustment for Keselowski. Shannon.
This is the money shot stop right here for Carl Edwards. 4 tires and fuel. He said, do not wait for the fuel. Little bit of air pressure. Vince.
The 29 of Clint Boyer says the car's just been a little bit too loose. They went a half round down on the track bar, 4 tires and fuel. The 20 of Denny Hamlin came in 4th. There you see him leaving. Says it's just too tight in the center. They made a chassis adjustment and air pressure as well.
Carl comes back out in front, but look at Brad Keselowski. That team did a heck of a job. They have moved him up 3 spots. Harvick drops 1, Boyer drops 2. Let's go back and take a look and analyze this pit stop.
This is the new rear tire changer for Kevin Harvick. He's around there, does a nice job on the right-hand side. Actually had a pretty solid stop overall. He's around the car right here. Textbook.
They were about 14.5 seconds. But there is Carl Edwards getting out first, and a couple of cars in the 13.8 range, including Brad Keselowski. Bottom of the hour, we're getting ready for a restart after our 5th caution. It is Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Clint Boyer. That's your top 6. Kyle Busch picked up 2 spots and is now in 7th. That is a locked position for him. It doesn't matter what anybody does. If he stays 7th or better, he wins the championship. Get ready as we're going back to green. Annett, Range, Townley, and Kenny Wallace got the wave around. We have now a total of 16 back on the lead lap, and we're racing again at Phoenix. Harvick, who came out in 4th. Whoa!
Here we are, 3 wide.
Keselowski runs it up high, down the backstretch. Here we go, Denny Hamlin, and it's Clint Boyer. Here comes Kyle. Hang on.
Contact.
Oh! Brad says, excuse me, pardon me, I want to play through.
Yeah, and here comes Kyle Busch.
Oh, he turns Hamlin. Gets into Hamlin.
Go low, come on, go low, go low.
Look out, remember, these guys have history from before, and he keeps it off the wall.
And I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to be too happy about this right here.
No, no.
He got hit going into turn 3, which is really a no-no in a driver's mind.
Keep it off the wall.
Man, what a job he did to keep that thing off the wall.
Wow, and nobody else hitting him, too. That was incredible
driving.
driving.
Do nothing about him, man.
Our 6th caution comes out.
He has a flat left front tire, looks like. So does Bliss has a flat left rear.
This is huge. Remember, Bliss, he is in the top 10 running right now, and in the 5th spot as of this moment, but that could change dramatically as he will have to make a stop here.
Yeah, I believe the 12 car is going to be the one to get the lucky dog, the free pass here. So
That's
he's
right.
battling Bliss, so puts him back on the lead lap.
It could change the entire complexion for the battle for the 5th and final spot on the podium in Miami next week. All right, let's go back and take another look.
4 tires and gas there.
Watch the 88.
You see here now, they're really racing hard. Kyle Busch passes both of these cars now. That's definitely contact from that 88 car, Brad Keselowski, in the left rear, Denny Hamlin.
There you can see where Bliss gets hit. Kenseth does a great job of wowing it down enough to avoid getting tagged right there. And everybody else slides by. On board.
This all started more here. See,
okay, there's some contact too.
Right there. That's what knocked Denny Hamlin up the racetrack. And then Brad sticks his nose back in here again. Definite contact there.
Yellow.
I think you're right. I don't think he's going to be happy about it.
Yep, not at all. Take another look from this angle.
Well, there's just nowhere to go right there. I'm sorry. There's one thing to be aggressive driving, but when you don't have anywhere that you're going to go, there's no room to stick your nose in there. You don't just turn a guy.
Now remember we said this started.
Okay, so there's what Brad's mad about a little bit.
And
now we know the rest of the story.
This is where we saw the 3 wide, where they were coming down. Okay, let's go as you see the nudge, and then here comes the second one, and it sounded from
Just
the
to
onboard.
make sure he gets the message right here.
Yeah, he didn't leave up on the throttle, and there goes Kyle Busch sneaking through, and that's where Bliss gets tagged by the 1 car, James Buescher. Ironic, that'll be the ride he's in.
That just looked like a lot of history is what that looked like.
Ooh, baby.
2 guys that hadn't forgot.
Yeah. Memory like an elephant. All right, well, let's talk about Monday Night Football because it's an AFC North battle. It is Cleveland and the Ravens, and it's at 8:30 Eastern. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown. It's served up by Applebee's, and that'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern. All right, we're going to stay right here because we are down to 41 laps to go, and quite honestly, we want to see what happens here to Mike Bliss and how far back he falls in this race for the 5th and final spot. They are pounding on the left front.
Yeah, they're trying to fix this car too. Got a little bit of damage in this deal. He wants to get this car fixed as good as he can so he can make up some spots.
As we mentioned, for Kyle Busch, who has now moved into 4th, he has got some breathing room, Dave.
And we'll ask Jason Ratcliffe. He has breathing room now in 4th. Does he have a race car that is finally underneath him after everything you've been through today?
Well, by looking at it, he doesn't, does he? That thing's she's turned pretty good. It's been quite a ball game today. We started off, and you saw it over there. We got sideways, and I'm not sure what happened there. The car wasn't handling right in the first couple of laps, and I don't know if we got up the racetrack and got something on the tires. I'm not really sure, but these guys have been working hard, trying to get the track position back. Kyle's been driving hard, and we've just been working on it, keep bolting tires on it, and see what we can get out of it.
How was your heart after the 88 and the 20 went after each other here?
What's that again?
How was your heart after the 88 and the 20 went after each other right in front of you?
Well, that kid never fails to amaze me, does he? I don't know what happened prior to that, so I really can't comment on it. But, from what I saw, he definitely went down the middle of the corner and punted him. But what happened back here, I don't know. But it's still, every week he wrecks somebody, and NASCAR's not going to do anything about it. And unfortunately, I'm afraid he's going to get hurt because somebody's going to get angry and do it at a higher speed racetrack. And we don't want to see that.
Jason's guy missed the wreck, though, and that's the big deal, guys.
Yeah, and there's a lot of subplots going on here because guess who's going to get the lucky dog? It is Justin Allgaier. He is going to be 17th, and guess who's going to be 15th? On the same lap, Mike Bliss. The points are tightening up for 5th. Remember in Countdown, we talked about the front stretch restarts, the collisions we've had in the past here. Get ready because it's go time. 37 to go this time by. It is Edwards, Harvick up front, then Boyer, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski 5th, and Sorensen 6th. Slows them way down, and here we go. Well, we made it through the front stretch this time.
Boy, Harvick gave it a good run into turn 1, but not able to stay outside of Carl Edwards.
No, but it did keep him in second and not let that inside lane get up there, and he'd lose some more spots.
Side by side for third, Boyer and Kyle Busch. This car was 35th early in this race. They have had a total of 6 pit stops just trying to get back, and here they are running third. There you see the points. He clinches if he just stays there, but he looks like he wants more.
Harvick's trying his best. He's using all of the racetrack down there, apron and everything, trying to get around Carl Edwards.
Let's go back to just a little bit earlier before we went green. Kyle's comments on the turn of the 88 on the 20.
You go make sure NASCAR does something about that. You may be only 4'5", but dude, the 88 just flat out dumped the 20. He tried to get into turn 3 and missed, so he throttled up and drove into him at the center of the corner. What is wrong with that kid?
So we know how Kyle feels.
He may not have seen that earlier contact between them to know what kind of caused that whole deal.
Yeah, well, these two just keep building. Right now, they are not anywhere close to each other on the racetrack. But, oh, look out. Boyer gets a little loose, hangs on to it.
Yeah, you know, Kyle's doing a great job fighting this car, as damaged as it is, and running up as high as he is. But he's not going to be able to hang on to some of these other cars that are a little bit better.
All right, a little further back in the field, there is Mike Bliss. He is duking it out with the 99 of Trevor Bayne. That is 4/10. So Bliss back on the move towards the front, and Allgaier is in 16th. They are on the lead lap. And right now, it would be a 6-point margin for 5th, with Bliss having it.
You can see Kyle losing some more spots here. Reed Sorensen has passed him. Now he's under attack from David Reagan.
And it looks like their repair work on the right rear corner has sort of come apart, which may be a part of the reason. And Reagan going underneath him. Take a look right there. You can see it's just flapping in the breeze.
Yeah, it's hanging on there. I don't think he's got anything to worry about as far as getting black flag, but it may not be as good as it was earlier.
He's hanging on right now on the outside line. Reagan trying to get underneath him. And here comes Brad Keselowski. He may get his opportunity to take care of some revenge for his teammate if he wants to in just a few laps.
Yeah, I think as we run on here, Kyle's only got about a 7th or 8th place car.
Got no motor in his car whatsoever. None. Zero motor to pull off the corner.
All right, so now he's got a motor issue. That was Kyle's radio, and here comes Keselowski underneath him, and he's giving him plenty of room. Well, not so much
maybe
now.
not so much.
Side by side, he's looking over and saying, oh, no. Here we go. Brad got the low line, and he does clear him. So move Keselowski
okay, a little crossover
into 6th.
move right here. Looks Kyle's looking back inside.
Well, Kyle's in 7th. This is the position where he clinches no matter what. And he's trying to get back underneath him. Kyle cannot afford to move any further back with Carl Edwards up front. It is right now at 203, the difference. That clinches it for Kyle.
It's like Matt Kenseth, though, is bearing down on Kyle.
He's closing in on the gap. Kyle's laps are slower. He is 0.6 of a second off of the race lead, and he is 0.3 of a second slower than Brad Keselowski. And here comes Matt Kenseth, who is about, on the last lap, 0.5 quicker. So he does have a problem. You heard him talk about the fact the motor's just not there. You're not missing anything up front. Carl Edwards has opened up an 0.8 of a second lead. Let's check in with Dave Burns.
And the comments from Kyle are that he is aero loose, has nothing to lean on. Don't know quite what that means because I haven't driven these things. DJ, you have. What's he talking about?
Yeah, he just can't be aggressive with the car, and I think a lot of it has to do with that right rear. That's been a big problem throughout the day, and now it's flapping in the wind there, and so he's just not getting that side force that you need to drive the cars really fast and have it feel very secure under you on this type of racetrack.
And while all this goes on, let's update you on 2 cars. Jason Leffler has come back out on the track in 27th. He is 13 laps down. But Eric McClure, with all that damage he sustained earlier, they have given it up, and they are behind the wall out of the race. Kyle still managing to hold off Matt Kenseth, and this is extremely important because if he drops back to 8th, he cannot clinch the championship if Edwards stays in front.
Yeah, another car's made a great recovery today is that 66 car of Stephen Wallace. You know, he had a wheel come off of his car after a little miscommunication on a green flag stop. He came back in and basically took a penalty for that, but he's worked his way all the way back up inside the top 10.
And there is Mike Bliss right behind him. And remember, Bliss, he had the problem and now is fighting his way back and is back in control of 5th place in the championship hunt ahead of Justin Allgaier. But it is oh so close. Only 6 points separate the two based on where they are right now on the track. The laps continue to wind down here at Phoenix as the sun sets. 25 to go the next time by. And remember, we said earlier, don't count the green-white checker out. The last 4 times we've been here, we have had a green-white checker. Here comes Reed Sorensen taking a peek at the 29 of Clint Boyer. That is for 3rd.
Well, that 32 car looks really, really good on the bottom of the racetrack, using that apron, just trying to get under this 29.
Yeah, we've got a lot of shade down in 1 right now, so these guys are utilizing that grip that they're getting as we see Mike Bliss once again trying to take this spot away from Steve Wallace.
That is for 9th place on the track, and Jason Keller right behind him in 11th. So there is 9th, 10th, and 11th in your screen. Some great racing. I love the short tracks. I'm sorry. They're my favorites. And there it is for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Remember, just we mentioned it at the beginning of the race. Stephen Wallace 4 races ago was the guy fighting Allgaier for 5th. And now it is Mike Bliss by 10 in that final spot on the podium. Here comes Matt Kenseth taking another look. And this is oh so important for Carl Edwards' slim hopes. And he's not going to get it done.
Ooh, man, they're racing hard.
Yeah, he was trying to put a slide job on him there. You could see that Matt Kenseth really got in the gas soon and was going to try to slide right up in front of Kyle Busch. Just wasn't able to make it stick.
Yeah, I think the reality is we all know Kyle's going to win this championship, but I think Matt would like to put it off one more race and make it have to happen at Homestead, Miami next week.
Yeah, I said earlier that this was a 7th, 8th place car that Kyle Busch is driving. I'm not even sure it's that. I think it's probably 11th or 12th place. Kyle Busch is just driving it to 7th place right now.
On board, you can see the view out the back. Car runs up the hill just a little bit, but Matt can't close in. Here comes Bliss trying to get into this mix. So Bliss pulling up to these 2 guys. And there you see the gap between those 3. That is 7th, 8th, and 9th. And here comes Kenseth. Take a look. Can't get past him again.
Yeah, and Kyle's racing hard for this spot because he knows if he loses that, then that's going to open the door for those other cars right behind him to be in there to take advantage of those spots also. So he knows if he loses 1, he might lose 3 or 4 spots.
And here comes Kenseth heading down into 3, and he's got the inside line. Can he clear him this time?
There's your slide job.
Crossover maybe trying to come back here.
No, as of right now, if Matt can hold on to it, Kyle cannot clinch.
Look at Jesse. Kyle putting his hand out the window like, hey, dude.
Let me correct myself. He's going to have to drop 1 more spot. He's going to have to go back to 9th to the point where he cannot clinch.
Yeah, that number will change by 5 more points if Carl Edwards leads the most laps.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
read my mind.
That's right. and he, guys, you're right. You're absolutely right because he's going to do it in 1 more lap. So that would change the complexion.
Oh!
And
Man,
Kyle runs up the hill, and that means Bliss gets underneath him. So that's going to change it a few more points.
Yeah, that's 4 more points.
Didn't quite hear what he said there.
Don't know that we wanted to.
I'm not sure he's happy with that 16. Dave?
What Kyle said was tell the 16 why that spot was important. Kyle's very aware that if he had held that spot, he could clinch. I always wonder if these guys are counting spots and points or not. Kyle obviously knew.
Yeah, I'm not sure Matt cares too much.
Yeah, Matt's a teammate of Carl Edwards. Why in the world would he care to help Kyle?
He says, good luck.
Well, get ready.
Why do I always have to ask myself why?
Kyle, don't ask why. Just keep driving, buddy. All right. Carl Edwards has just taken over the points situation with the most laps led here. He's going to clinch that mark, and that is going to keep him from losing this championship at least for 1 more week.
Well, I can tell you it's still pretty dismal.
Yeah, it's you know, like we said, it's a guarantee, but you know, it's kind of fun to make him stretch it out as much as he can. I mean, I'm sure Carl would just love to,
you know, all it means is Kyle just has to show up next week.
Basically, you're right. Got to qualify, and then he would clinch. There's still 16 laps to go in this one, but there is your race leader as he unloaded yesterday and was fastest in first practice, and they have been very happy with this race car all weekend long. And right now, he has a 2.7-second lead over Kevin Harvick, who is trying to double up from his Truck Series win from last night.
Kevin just doesn't seem to have what it's going to take. Carl Edwards has got out front. When he got out front on that restart that Denny Hamlin chose the outside, he's been pretty much the man in charge since that time.
But you know, this racetrack is changing. It's getting a lot of shade on. It's cooling down. And, you know, it could start playing just the last few laps here. We've got 15 to go. It may start playing into Harvick's favor, especially if we had another caution.
Well, and I still keep thinking about the green-white checker because we have a history of it here.
Man,
at Phoenix.
Harvick just about hit that wall.
Yeah, he did get close. There's Reed Sorensen. He has had a great run today. Sorensen running right now in third. He started 10th. That was his low point of the day, and he has been a consistent car in that top 10, and right now running third. A little further back, remember Clint Boyer fell back as far as 31st after that early spin with Kyle Busch, and here comes Brad Keselowski taking a peek under David Reagan. That is a battle for 5th.
Yeah, Keselowski's come back. Looks like he's got a little damage on that right front, but it doesn't seem to be bothering him too much.
Can't imagine where that came from.
I'll just be interested to hear the comments after from both.
Oh, I keep Denny away from him, I think, because if Denny could get to him right now, you can tell you Hamlin is 12th, and he is a good 6 seconds behind these two guys.
Yeah, these are important points for Brad Keselowski, too, as he wants to have a shot when they go to Homestead next week to try to beat Carl for that second spot.
And right now, it's a 60-point difference based on where they're running on the racetrack right now with Carl up front. And now Keselowski opens up some more ground over David Reagan. So that battle has sort of faded off as the sun continues to fade. And we're now down. Next time by, it'll be 10 laps remaining. Matt Kenseth, you can see right there in 7th position. He's riding in the car that Greg Biffle won in here. Last time Greg drove that car. In fact, Biffle has the most wins in this series, 3 in the Nationwide Series here. And there is Mike Bliss, as he is in 8th position right now and leads in the battle for that 5th and final spot. You can see by 14. Right behind him is the 18 of Kyle Busch. And he is 9th. And as we pointed out, with Carl now leading the most laps, the magic number is not going to be achieved unless Kyle can move forward.
Yeah, you know the big difference, though, is that Kyle Busch would like to put his hands on that trophy tonight.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to wait till next week at Homestead.
Yeah, and like we said, all he'll basically have to do is start next week, and he will clinch the championship. But you're right. He wants to get it done. I mean, he has, for all the records that he's accomplished, he has not won a championship in any of the 3 series.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't. He would like to have made that happen today, but give Carl Edwards and his team credit. They came here and did their job today. Now, we still have a little less than 8 laps to go, but they came here. They led the most laps. They're leading the race on their way to a victory here, so they did what they had to do to try to prolong this.
8 laps remaining here at Phoenix. Edwards lead maintaining at 2.7 seconds.
How many times have we had green-white checkers here at this racetrack?
4 in a row.
4 in a row?
Yeah.
It ain't over yet.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly right. 7 to go now here at Phoenix. And I guarantee you, Carl is thinking the very same thing in the cockpit of that car. Because these guys study the history of these events for that very reason, so they know exactly what their pit strategy has to be. This hasn't been a fuel economy run. It has been good, flat out, short track racing. Kevin Harvick brought this new car. We thought maybe he'd have enough to pull off a double after winning the truck race, but right now just can't seem to cut into Carl's lead.
He was a little faster the last lap, but he's going to have to pick it up a little more if he's going to try to run him down with just 6 to go.
Yeah.
Well, we're still have a chance at a green-white checker, though.
Yeah. Here's Carl. Coming through, heading for turn 3 and 4, and not challenged by anyone on this racetrack.
5 more times. 5.
We don't have to tell you. The spotter just did. His lead has cut to 2.5 seconds. There's just not enough time unless something happens. And there is Kyle Busch, where the celebration apparently is going to be held off for 1 more week.
He's thinking, just need 5 more points.
Got to get a spot. And he just doesn't seem to have the grunt. His lap times are 28.9, and Bliss is actually running a little bit quicker ahead of him. And there they are, the two in the championship chase.
Yeah, and even Mike Bliss's spot's only worth 4 points, so he's still going to come up shy there. He'd have to get 2 more spots here.
Yeah, he's got to get back up to 7th with Carl leading the most laps. So, you know, as we mentioned, Carl has done everything he had to, and he's postponing the inevitable, but it's got to feel good. Remember, Mike Kelly came on as crew chief just the last race. Here they are trying to work out that communication between the two of them, and I think they've done a pretty doggone good job today.
They've got it going pretty well so far. You know, they've been fast right off the truck this entire weekend, and that's the kind of weekend you like to have, especially as a new crew chief with a driver of Carl Edwards' talent.
I'll tell you how much confidence Carl had. I talked to him in the garage area Friday before he ever got in this car. He said, my Nationwide car is going to be good this week.
Carl's going to start 25th in the Cup race tomorrow. There's the gap to Harvick. 2 laps to go. It's down to 2.47 seconds. There's just not enough time. Something has got to happen if Harvick's going to have any chance of getting a shot at Carl.
Yeah, and your boys green, white, checkered you've been talking about. I know you're building all that up.
I heard it in Countdown. They said it was a virtual certainty.
That's it. Put the blame on Brad and all those guys, Rusty and Ray. And
White flag, one more time.
Well,
it's not going to happen now.
Nope, that's it right there.
White flag is out. Here we go. There's Carl Edwards trying to get under the 26 of Kevin Conway. Conway gives him plenty of room. Heard the crew tell him, just bring it on home. 2.6 seconds the gap, and it looks like the championship is going to last at least till we get to Miami, because here comes Carl Edwards for his 25th Nationwide Series win in his 175th start, as he takes the win by 2.6 seconds over Kevin Harvick. Reed Sorensen with a great run in 3rd. Boyer a good comeback for 4th. Brad Keselowski in 5th. Then it's Reagan, Kenseth, Bliss clinching or hanging on to that 5th spot by a hair. Kyle Busch comes home in 9th, which is not enough.
That's it, buddy. Checkered flag here at the
to
line.
clinch it for the championship. Now, I don't think we're going to see the flip, because he's still limping on that foot. All right. Yeah, well, let's keep a camera on this, because I want to see what happens when the 20 and the 88 get together, guys.
Yeah, it looks like this 88's in a hurry to get into the pits.
Here comes Hamlin. We're going to keep an eye on all this.
Yeah, I don't think that we're the only ones. Looks like NASCAR officials are around the 88 car.
Denny has just pulled down. Oops, the flag got dropped to Carl, but it hit the wind screen instead of the cockpit area. Denny is coming on down. We might want to get a camera here, fellas. They're coming up side by side on each other. There he is. Is he going to do anything? No. Pulls on by. So we'll find out if he has any words for Brad afterwards.
I'm sure if we give him a camera and a microphone, he'll have a few words here.
Listen to the crowd. Boy, he hopped down. Can't do the backflip, though.
Oh, there we go.
It did a somersault.
He said, that's all you get.
We gotta talk to him, though. He's got to get on the right side of the camera so we can see it. Well, that's cute. Yeah, that foot just is not healed. I saw him limping. Look at this. I mean, he knows the championship's going to be his, but he just cannot believe the kind of day he has had, and he was not able to clinch it here at Phoenix.
Now, he virtually clinched it today.
So the ticket to the championship for Homestead Miami Speedway, the final stop. Get your tickets now. It will be 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2, as he has declined an interview. Kyle has told Dave Burns he does not want to talk, so he's heading back, and it'll just go one more week As let's catch up with some of the other participants, as there is Carl taking the victory lap here at Phoenix. Vince?
Standing by with Brad Keselowski, 5th place finish tonight. A little front end damage there on the right front. Take us back, and in your mind, what happened there with Denny? A lot of history between the two of you.
Well, first off, congratulations to Carl. I don't know what he does here, but he is the man here. He's really good here. He deserves a lot of credit for that. But you know, we had a long weekend here, and we had a solid car there at the end, a real solid car. Felt like we could run up there in the 2nd or 3rd spot, and I just didn't get it done on the last few restarts like I needed to. But the pit crew today was phenomenal. Got me a bunch of spots on pit road and made my job a lot easier. I just wish I could have got through and had a solid finish to go with it. But you know, I don't know, on the last restart there, from what I could tell, Denny got in the back of me and pushed me up the track, and you know, I was going to return the favor, and when he did it to me, I saved it, and when I did to him, he didn't save it. So, you know, we just got in a pushing match. I don't know. I don't really hold any grudges. I don't know why he wanted to do that, but whatever. You know, it's just the way racing is, I guess.
With the history between the two of you and what we saw today, how long does something like this continue?
It doesn't to me. To me, I was over it. I'm focused on running the 88 Junior Motorsports car and trying to run up front and chase down Carl and try to finish second in points. I haven't put any thought into it, and apparently he has.
Brad Keselowski. Jamie?
And Kevin Harvick brings it home second today. New generation car you guys brought here, brand new. You changed the rear tire changer. How would you assess your guys' overall performance today?
Well, I think our Rheem solar water heaters Chevrolet was very good. That 60 would just take off so well. Congratulations to those guys. They did a great job. Ernie and all these guys have done a great job all weekend on getting the car and the truck running. Wish we could have come up one spot better, but all in all, it was a good day for us.
They were good in the pits as well, and that's always important, and it'll be Ryan Newman in the 33 next week. Marty?
17 total cars finished on the lead lap. We had a record-setting 15 DNFs today here at Phoenix. As you could see the conversation going on, let's check in with Dave Burns.
Well, Denny Hamlin is the other side of the 8820 story today. Brad seeming to indicate that he's over it, and he think you kind of started it today. Denny, what do you have to say?
You know, I can sit here and bash him for the next 20 seconds or so and give you all a bunch of sound bites and everything. But I'm just happy I signed up for next week's nationwide race. And, you know, in turn, you know, there's a lot of guys that owe him. There's a lot of guys that have a lot of chips that they're going to cash in. I'm just going to be the first of the pay window.
You think that NASCAR needs to get involved with Brad now at this point?
No, I'll take care of him. It's no biggie. I got him.
All right, Denny Hamlin. Obvious where he stands, guys.
Don't miss it. 4 o'clock Eastern time next week.
I'll be there.
Yeah. He has basically said, I'm coming after you. There are the points on the ticker. All Kyle has to do is start the race, and he will clinch. But he wanted to wrap it up here, have plenty of fun. Didn't get it done. Denny led the first 91 to 95 laps, but Carl Edwards led 109 the rest of the way, and boy, he is in victory lane. Shannon?
Well, it is a 5th win for Carl Edwards. What a weekend for this 60 team. Carl, you guys made the crew chief change 2 races ago. You said, I know I've got stuff all over me, you said you wanted to get a head start on next season. I assume this is the head start you were hoping for?
Yeah, this is it. I got to thank O'Reilly Auto Parts. They sell Valvoline, and if you want insurance for your engine, you can get a guarantee that they'll pay for anything that goes wrong with your engine. All you have to do is use Valvoline. So thank you for having them on board. Scott, Save a Lot, Ford. Ford is the greatest car manufacturer in the country, and I believe in the world. I'm proud to drive a Ford. That's 25 wins, and I know Kyle's almost clinched a championship, but that's what we came here to do, is to win this race. I'm so proud of Mike Kelly and all the guys. You know, Dan Stillman built a great team this year, and Mike's taking it over, and it's a great way to get started. You know, before the year's over, it's good to get a win.
Mission accomplished, and the 60 team heads to Homestead, where they're great next weekend. Alan?
Okay, Shannon, thanks. And the twist in the Nationwide Series Championship today with the early spin for Kyle Busch. And tomorrow, what's going to happen in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race? We will find out. Our coverage presented by Goodyear starts from here in Phoenix at 2:30 Eastern on ABC. Championship in the NHRA. Great action going on out in Southern California. The Auto Club of Southern California meet qualifying tonight, 10:30 Eastern ESPN2. The finals tomorrow, 7 Eastern ESPN2. Pre-race and post-race editions of NASCAR Now tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. on ESPN2. And then the final race of the Nationwide Series season, the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway, 4 p.m. Eastern next Saturday on ESPN2. Well, because the footy broke earlier this summer, he couldn't quite do the backflip, but he gave the fans something anyway.
That was a pretty good deal right there. Well, this race is over. It's on to Homestead right now. One more race for everybody to show their stuff. Bring it out right now if you've been holding back, because all the car owners are looking, the fans are looking. Show your stuff at Homestead.
I can't wait. I got dangerous Denny Hamlin. Get ready to get on with bad Brad Keselowski. I will be front and center next Saturday to watch the throwdown in Homestead, baby.
Well, congratulations to Carl. He was right. Slick track came right up his alley. Can I come be in the pit studio with you guys for that battle next week?
Battle? Yeah. They're going to get it on.
I'm writing down everything Brad said for the pre-race next weekend. I'm telling you. Coming up next, good one in college football. Auburn versus Georgia. That is next on ESPN2. So tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern on ABC, our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series chase coverage presented by Goodyear from here in Phoenix. And for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, Carl Edwards kept him from getting closed out today, but for Kyle Busch, all he has to do is start the race next Saturday in Miami, and he'll be the 2009 champion, and it will be a championship well-deserved. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Phoenix for our entire ESPN NASCAR crew. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.